Ah, there we go. That's a little bit better. Oh, Homie Biscuits. He must have had to use the outhouse before he started. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Mr. Andy Cook. Whiskey ready. I figured going with the Russian theme. I have vodka, except it's made in America, not the motherland, der hinterland. Shalom, everybody. Hey, it's Robert Holiday. What's up, Robert Holiday? What's going on? I gotta edit something. How are we? Ahoy! So, if Hunter Seeker, shalom, brother. If you're new here, this is a Q&A. You ask questions in the comments. What's up, Oki? Shalom, brother. You ask questions in the comments and do that in all capitals so that I have a chance of seeing them. To give you an idea, the chat goes, look at my finger. The chat goes by this quick, okay? I'm not going to see all of them, but I'll try. I have no responsibility to answer your question. So if you ask a question a dozen times and I don't answer it, you don't need to get pissed off. It just is what it is. Is that a PSA AK? It is. There are many like it, but this one is mine. I, FYI, love it. Love it. So, and that's how this works. How did we meet? Liberty, liberty, liberty. How did we meet? How did I meet Liberty? She showed up for a vacation at her parents' house and then disappeared for 4 days, fell in love with a Marine, and now she's part of tribe. How is the baby sheep? Delicious. Thank you for asking. Parboiled, then braised, and then finally finished over coals with a little bit of barbecue sauce. No, baby sheep is doing fine. Where is it spray painted with high temp paint? It's spray painted with regular Rust-Oleum, and it works great. Looking forward to seeing you and Rex, the refuge class. Amen, Brandon Sweeney. Where's a good place to get water tanks? Just search for IBC totes in your zip code, and you'll find them. Do you think it's a bad time to buy rental properties? Hell, I don't know. I'm not an investment person. I do know that real estate is insanely valued right now. But it also, real estate never goes to zero. So, that's your call. That's your call. Insanely high. Now I'm hungry, thanks. You're welcome. That thumbnail though, Wolverines, that's right. Cold here in Texas, cold here in Oklahoma. The plane crashes on the Canada and US border. Which side do you bury the survivors? I don't know. That sounds like a dad joke. Foe. Hi, CB. Hola, Senor El Barro. What's up, Mac X? Kerry Stenick, good evening. Is it going to kick off? Yeah, any day now. It's looking like any day now. February 20th seems to be the date in question. So, it's cold here in Austin. Cold is relative. 5 inches of snow around the Duncan area. Copy that. What is your favorite wood to work with and why? I like knotty alder for making doors and cabinets with because it's like quintessential wood. I love figured maple, curly maple, flame maple. It's absolutely gorgeous. I'm a fan of cherry. It's soft as far as hardwoods go. I like it a lot. Beech is also pretty. You don't bury the survivors. Ha ha ha. Okay. Beech is also a pretty good word. Pretty good wood, rather. So, as far as, my favorite wood to work with, not oak. Nope, no land near me for sale. Burled walnut, gorgeous. Mesquite, yeah, I like Pecky cypress, spalted pecan. Spalted pecan is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. What would you do with 30K right now? I don't know. That sounds like you need a consultation call. It depends on where you are in your walk. And what I would do with 30K is legitimate operational security. So, Hickory's nice too. You don't, yeah, we got it, Mountain Man. You don't bury the survivors. Got it. Buy Ethereum. No, I wouldn't buy friggin' any type of coin to save my life. Negative, unless it was silver. I'd buy silver. I'd buy silver before I bought Bitcoin for sure, because we reported on this earlier in the week. The government is going to regulate cryptocurrencies. Already planning to regulate cryptocurrencies. It's going to lose an immense amount of value. They're going to take over your digital wallet. That's why they made it digital to begin with, and it's going to be bad. And you can't lay your hands on it. That's the problem. Ash makes great firewood. It can be good to work with as long as you know there's no ash borer or beetles in it. Thank you, Odd Chipmunk. Gonna open a window. Hot in here. Reality survival. Shalom, brother. I just did a best chainsaw video on Patreon. I like the Steel 362 with a 20-inch bar. It's big enough to do most things. It's small enough that it's not going to wear you out. At the price point, it's relatively attainable. It's a professional saw, which means it'll do everything you need it to do on the Homestead, but it's not an 066, which means that most inexperienced operators are going to cut their legs off with it. So, what is tonight's smoke? Prepper Dad, great question. A Tabac Especial by Drew Estates. Todd, shalom, brother. It's not a rail dust cover. It's a side mount. Now, for training purposes, YouTube, this is my training rifle. Training rifle. This is a trainer. It's a fake trainer rifle, okay? Trainer rifle. Fake trainer rifle. It's a fake trainer rifle. Trainer rifle. Optics mount on the side. Primary arms 2X prism. Love this. Love this. Love this. Did I mention that I love this? Because I love this. I love this. It's awesome. Primary arms. And yeah, it's an AK. Palmetto trainer rifle. It's a trainer. Trainer. By trainer, I mean I train with it. But we all know that YouTube does not permit the handling of live weapons on video. This is why I brought my trainer rifle with me. What's up, Mr. Take Trainer Rifle? Aaron Holt, what's going on? Hello from Not Maine. Would those cows of yours in OK do Florida heat? Yeah, absolutely. They do better with the heat than they do with the cold. They're actually an African breed, so yep. What you bringing to the armed retainer? I'm bringing a 16-inch government profile barrel with 1 to 8 on it, and a 3-pound trigger in it. My recce rifle. Do you want a couple of CAO consigliaries or a couple of Olivia V. Melanios? Shalom, Tommy. I don't know. The CAO consigliaries sound good. Bear, I was just watching a shooting video. Pretty sure those were loaded. No, they're not loaded. Nope. This is a training rifle, people. I very well may have milled your barrel. Thank you, Kevin Burton. I appreciate it. I very well may have shot the training rifle that you milled the barrel on. Congrats on Vice. Thank you. That was really more about Pastor Joe than it was about me or us, but it was an interesting opportunity. And, you know, I got to tell the world that Jesus wasn't a pussy and piss a bunch of people off, and I'll take it. Yes, Marcia, I am smoking. I also say things like Jesus wasn't a pussy. If you want to let yourself out, go for it. So, hey, Carly. I don't know who Carly is. Nice smoke screen effect. You like that? What's up, Rob G? Long time. Do you have a well or rural water? Both. What kind of jacket is that? It's a Rothko. Would you pin weld an AK? Depends. That was my favorite part of the Vice video. Thank you, Brandon. How much ammo do you carry for your EDC? I have a pistol and 2 reloads on me. Newer sub. Thanks, Carly. Just fake smoke, Melissa. Yeah, it's a smoke machine. Out here on the green screen, you know. Do you really think a gas mask is needed for prepping? Not until way down the line, honestly. Not until way down the line. And then, even then, it's just a small part of the mop gear that one is going to need. So, good to have? Absolutely necessary? No. The last video that I shot for Survival Dispatch, and by last I mean like there won't be another one, discusses the concept of, do you as a prepper need a gas mask? So, PSA sucks, get you an arsenal or something better. Super Heather Russell. No, PSA doesn't suck. That PSA has been great. 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 It's chewed through that gun, probably 1,000 rounds of steel case, no problem. Vickers sling on that. It's Viking Tactics, VTAC. Why are you done on Survival Dispatch? Jeff Gray, in a nutshell, because I haven't gotten a good answer from Big Daddy Unlimited about their shenanigans with the wide open trigger. And if they're doing shit, see, Big Daddy Unlimited owns Survival Dispatch. And if Big Daddy Unlimited is doing shady things to small businesses, I won't have a part of that. I'm a firm supporter of small businesses. And so I've yet to get an adequate answer from Big Daddy Unlimited as to what the deal is about BDU, who owns wide open trigger, versus the FRT forced reset trigger. And if they can't give me a good answer, I'm going to have to, if I can't get an official answer from them, I'm going to have to go with all the rumored intelligence that I hear from everybody else. So, that's why. I won't contribute to something that is against American small business. So, how to store butter. Clarify it. It's called ghee. Then you can can it or freeze dry it. Bear, will we ever see you drum? If you're on Patreon, you see me drum twice. Where's the little survival kit coming up, Bear? It'll come out probably springtime or so. Oh, Jeff Gray, I mean, you're welcome, question mark, for doing the right thing, but the right thing is the right thing. It's just the right thing. So, pigs, goats, or sheep after chickens? Well, I don't eat pigs. Goats are a pain in the ass, and sheep are delicious, so I would get sheep. What cigar? For the second time, Drew Estate Tabac Especial. Kudos to you. Wondered why so many influencers were letting it ride with BD. Hey, I don't know. I don't know. That's between them and BDU, but BDU won't give me an answer that I find. I talked to my guy at Survival Dispatch, who, by the way, is a great guy. Like, I don't have an issue with Survival Dispatch, but Survival Dispatch is owned by BDU. And I haven't gotten a good answer from anybody at BDU about what's going on. And the guy at Survival Dispatch said that he hasn't gotten a good answer about what's going on. And I was like, well, that's all I need to know. So, Chad Netherton, shalom, brother. Well, thank you, Carly. Shalom, peep the finesse. Interest rates are going to be going way up soon. Thoughts on taking out a loan to coup him? Negative. That violates Proverbs 22:6. You do not take out a loan. The rich rule over the poor, and the debtor is a slave to his debt. You just eliminate all of your bullshit and get out. Stop trying to keep 1 foot in the world and have 1 foot out in the wilderness. Just jump, man. Jump. If you're supposed to, if the Father's told you to jump, He's going to bless that. So, no, you don't take out a loan for shit, let alone for land. GTFO. Gummy bear patch, you know it. Sounds like a kerosene heater. Well, it's actually a propane heater. It's right there. Debt is bad. It doesn't matter what it's for. Debt is bad. You can't come up with a good enough reason for why you should go into debt. Says me. You do you. Your mileage may vary, but not on my end. How much land would you say is a minimum for a functional homestead? You can get it done on 3 to 5 acres. I mean, every day I walk around on about 3 acres. That's what I have my feet on every day. 3 acres. More the merrier for sure, but you don't have to have a bajillion acres to start homesteading. We were suburban homesteading on 1/3 of an acre. So it can get done. 3 to 5 acres, no problem. No problem at all. Were you guys on the Caleb house? Hopefully beginning construction in the spring. It's dropped about 15 to 20 degrees here in the last few hours. Yep. Bug Out Bob, really enjoying your videos. Yeah, Bug Out Bob has good videos. Diving through scripture thanks to your ministry. I've debated topics for years in some formal education. I'm convinced that dietary laws, etc., are still relevant for Christians today. Thanks. You're welcome. Remember, Christian means follower of Christ. Christios, derogatory term. Hey, those people, those weird people that follow that Christ guy, what would Jesus do? Right? It turns out he'd keep the Torah because he was it. But that's a whole nother story. If you got questions on that, you can go watch my most recent Bible video, Lawlessness, and then read 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. Tango Liberty, .308. I agree. Will you be doing consults again anytime soon? For the world, no. For you, yes. Well, email me, we'll set it up. No, I'm not doing any more consulting anytime in the near future. So, just don't have the bandwidth, don't have the time. What else we got? Keep them coming. What's up, backyard prepping? Lost both of my parents, haven't been on here much. Well, I am very sorry to hear that. That shit sucks. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for your loss. Will you ever teach classes more on the west side of the state, like western Oklahoma? Probably not. Nobody's out there. Unless you got a bunch of people, in which case email sales@refugetraining.com. We got to go to where the audience is, right? So there's nobody out there. But what we tell people is the same thing I would tell you. If we're coming to your state, come see us. We do a lot of Oklahoma classes. Guys, we've trained... Whoa there, curtain rod. We train the military on the same stuff we're training y'all on, and we've had a bunch of people in the military, in law enforcement, in fire, in EMS, come to us and go, this is the best training we've ever gotten on this stuff. Where's Hami? She's in the house. She has sense. I don't. So, if I'm in your state, come see us. So, are you still planning on any disaster missions soon? I don't plan disasters, Randy. By their very nature, they're unplanned. So, if something comes up and the Father says go, we will go. When are you coming to Kansas? We were in Kansas. We were in Wichita not that long ago. Will you ever come to Ohio? We were in Cleveland end of last year. I'm telling you guys, check refugetraining.com. Check it often. You should be going there every week. Indiana, we have a class up in Indy right now. The Copper Goat. There's an Indy class right now in the store in Indiana. Florida classes. We were in Atlanta and Tallahassee end of last year. So, it's not a toy. It's not a toy. It's a trainer. Pittsburgh. We're in Philly. Evening, Oklahoma homesteading. Tango Liberty Bear, awesome job y'all did in Kentucky. Thank you. Appreciate that. Philly was awesome. Looking forward to more training. Amen. I appreciate that. Tennessee classes. We did Clarksville, Tennessee a year ago. We may come back and do it again. Check refugetraining.com on the regular. If we're in your state or at least within 3 hours of your house, come see us. Like, we've had people, New York State Adirondacks, absolutely not. I refuse to be a felon. I grew up in the Adirondack Mountains in upstate New York. Ain't coming back. Won't do it. I refuse to be a felon. We've had people in the Texas classes drive from as far away as New Hampshire and Alaska to come to Dallas, Texas to take the class. And much like Fo just said, we're driving there. You might want to come drive as well. Like, this is not an everyday opportunity. This isn't like going to the movies. This isn't like making a dentist appointment. If you don't meet us where we're at, we're doing our best to meet you where you're at. If I at least get into your state, come see us. It's the best I can do, man. I have people bitch all the time. It's like, well, you were in this town, but you weren't in that town 2 towns over, and I live in that town 2 towns over. You should have come here. Like, asshole, you couldn't drive 2 towns over? We drove 1,200 miles to get here, and you're going to write me an email bitching because you couldn't drive 2 towns over? You're not our kind of people. Those people don't need to come to class, all right? You need to not come to class. Vegas class is in the works. No promises, it's in the works. We need another trip to Atlanta. Check the website, refugetraining.com. Jeez Louise. For the 3rd time, the cigar tonight is Drew Estates Tabac Especial. What is your 2 favorite training tools? An AR and an AK? When is the Walrus Rescue class? That has been slated for later this year, Tiborosaurus Rex. Still working on getting the EPA to sign off on it. It's been a little rough. We don't really get along. Thoughts on an SKS as a bug-out rifle? I think if you have an SKS, it's going to be just fine. 7.62 39, 10 rounds, feed it from stripper clips, decent iron sights, learn to shoot the damn thing, 300 meters and in, good to go. It works. It works. So the thing with the SKS is the idea was after World War II, the Russians decided that they were going to replace their submachine guns with AK-47s, and they were going to replace their bolt-action rifles with SKS, self-loading, auto-loading rifles. And they realized pretty quick that AK does everything the SKS does, but it's got 30-round detachable box magazines and a full freedom switch on it. They're like, we don't really need the SKS anymore. Now, China fell in love with the SKS and made them for a long time. Russia, not so much. But they work, okay? 7.62 39, 300 meters and in, you know. Some people, Rex can probably shoot that gun to 500 meters, right? Maybe farther. Me, not so much. 300 meters and in. If it's what you have, it's what you have. Would I go buy an SKS as a bug-out gun? Hell no, because you used to be able to pick up an SKS for $70 at the pawn shop. Now they're like $500. Well, I can get a parts kit from Palmetto for $400. So, yeah. Bear, any good source for obtaining a new Whoopee blanket? Rothko? I think mine's a Rothko. I've had a blast dropping Refuge Medical all over Canadian Preppers videos every time he tries to post medical videos. A lot of his followers are heading your way. Thanks, Jonathan. I appreciate that. M14, the best 7.62 by 51308. I disagree. I disagree. The M14 is a sexy rifle. It's a battle rifle, the last true battle rifle. But it was actually not a very good rifle. They had really bad quality control issues with the M14. If you buy an M1A national match, you're going to get a good rifle. Everything else is, you're talking a 3 MOA gun, 3 to 4 MOA gun. It's got good peep sights on it. It's got a beautiful walnut stock. You know, a chamber is full power, 7.62 by 5.1. But yeah, exactly, QRF. That's exactly what I was going to say. The AR-10 beats the hell out of the M14 by a long shot. By a long shot. Yeah, and about $2,800, right? Oh, Bear, what's your thoughts on thermal versus night vision? I think that's a video all on its own, but it depends on the application. Thermal's good to have, night vision's good to have. Hey, Bear, how's the weather treating you guys over there? It's a little chilly. Steel case ammo for bulk storage. Sure, if you can still get it. And if you, for what steel case has been costing here lately, so might as well buy brass. We do love you, homie. We do love you, homie. How good are SOC gear bags? If you mean SOE Tactical, they're excellent. They're excellent. Anything you buy from SOE will be top of the line. And I'm saying that as a guy who has no monetary reason to tell you that. I like them a lot, and their gear is excellent. It's absolutely excellent. I have some of it. And I have 3 sew shops that I subcontract. 3 of them. Okay? 3 American-made sew shops that we subcontract. And SOE is as good or better than they are. So, Mass Prepper, shalom. Mass Prepper drove from Massachusetts to Richmond, Virginia to take the class. So, yo no bicho, por favor. Okay? Do you believe geothermal heating and cooling is worth the effort? Yes, if you're doing it before you build the building or the structure or whatever. If you're trying to do it ex post facto, best of luck to you. It's going to be an absolute pain in the ass. But if you're doing it beforehand, if you're planning on doing it, yeah, for sure. PTR 91 is a viable battle rifle. Yes, but again, you're buying 1950s, 1960s technology for as much or more as what you'd pay for, let's be frank, 1950s AR technology. Well, the AR-15, 1958, Eugene Stoner came up with it. Anyway, here's the point. The M4 has been iterated on for the last 70 years. The PTR 91, not so much, unless you're Polish, but that's a different story. Go watch 9-hole reviews. Proprietary mags too. Great point. I'm a Christian and I'm starting a survival school in Georgia. Any tips, brother? Yeah, social media marketing, influencer marketing. Don't take shit from anybody. Under promise, over deliver. Do what you say you're gonna do. Nobody's gonna care if you're a Christian or not when it comes to doing business. If you do a bad job of doing business, and in fact, you're probably hurting your reputation and the kingdom's reputation if you do bad business. So I'd be careful just throwing that stuff around. And if you're a Christian, go where the Spirit leads. Do what the Father tells you to do. Which, frankly, is espoused upon in John chapter 16. Any spirit that tells you to break the Father's commands or that tells you to walk in unrighteousness is not the Holy Spirit, bro. So, yeah, and that's what it says in the New Testament. It's a different spirit. Keep talking about firearms. What about hand-to-hand? How about an intro to combatives course with refuge training that we're working on currently? The mini stomp bag is in a Condor Day pack. We're working on sourcing an American-made manufacturer for that same bag, but right now it's a Condor bag. It's actually incredibly hard to find an American sew shop that will make bags like that. 30 super carry. Nah, not totally impressed right now. Better than 380? Yup. Better than 9mm? Nope. Am I super concerned about 2 more rounds? I don't know. There's 19 rounds in this. So, Bear, do you have a favorite style of martial art? Not really. Nah, not really. No. Comms, best buy for the buck. Cheap stuff will work, but it's not going to work very well. Balfangs break. Ask me how I know. Yaesu, good brand. Yaesu. Bear, would you like to participate in the ham radio field day? I would not. I appreciate the invite, but thank you very much. I would not. There's a couple of reasons why I would not. The first is I'm not the ham radio guy, and my ham guys probably already know about that, and I'm not the guy. The second is I don't necessarily enjoy going places where people are going to recognize me, and big group meetups like that is not something that I frankly relish. It's kind of weird because then people I've never met before come up to me and they're like, oh my gosh, you're Bear. And I'm like, no, man, I'm just a dude from Eastern Oklahoma. They're like, yeah, but you're Bear from the internet. I'm like, yes, I am also that. That is true. However, right now I'm just trying to chill. Just trying to chill. So it gets a little weird. So thank you for the invite, though. I do legitimately appreciate the invite, but it's just not really up my alley. Stephen, I wasn't in the service. I was a contractor. Subject matter expert, DOD, DIA. Can you comment on whose name should I be baptized? Oh gosh, let's open up that can of worms. Oh, Father, help me. You can cast out demons in the name of Jesus. How do I know? Because I've done it. And people are going to get hung up on there's only one name by which you can be saved. Here's the deal. There's no J in Hebrew. We know if you read the Old Testament and the New Testament, Yeshua, Jesus, was prophesied to be of the tribe of Judah, of the house of David, which he was, and which he was. There's no J in Hebrew. Okay? There's no J. And so Jesus is an Englishization of the Roman Jesus, which was Romanized Yeshua or Yahushua. Okay? There's no J in Hebrew. And I spoke Hebrew, so there's no J. Now, you can absolutely cast out demons in the name of Jesus. I've done it. That was before I knew what the name Yeshua was. And so, if you're baptized in the name of Jesus, awesome. Praise the Father. If you're wondering, should I be baptized in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach? There's your answer. The Spirit's already tickling you. Go with that, okay? Bear. Well, Bear, you unleashed on YouTube and Patreon should have just went on Patreon. Yeah, that's true. What do you think about PSA AK 103? Is that reliable for SHTF? I've not shot the PSA 103. I've shot a bunch of other PSA stuff, and I appreciate it very much. It's really good stuff. Crack yaks for sure, Taborosaurus Rex. Crack yaks for sure. Shalom, brother. Palmetto makes good stuff. Is it Daniel Defense? No. Is it, in some cases, comparable when it comes to their chrome hammer or cold hammer forged barrels? Absolutely. It's good stuff. Now, I think the bigger question is, what do you mean reliable in SHTF? How many friggin' rounds are you going to shoot? Because I shot 4,000 rounds out of one of my Palmetto ARs before I had a serious malfunction. 4,000. And that serious malfunction was because I didn't clean it well enough. Okay? So, do you know of good belts or socks that are cheap? No. Good stuff is usually not cheap. Is Refuge Medical ever going to be at SHOT Show? I don't know. Not anytime soon. It costs $10,000 to walk through the door and get half of a table at SHOT Show. I'm going to start charging a hell of a lot more for our kits if you want me to go to SHOT Show. Not happening. Barrett, top 5 death metal bands. The band Death is at the top of the list. Thinking Man's metal. Then probably Immolation. And then next from there, let's see. Who else do I really, really enjoy death metal wise? Death and Immolation. We'll leave it at that for now. Arch Enemy's not really death metal though. They're more like melodic death metal, if that. Cannibal Corpse, great band. I mean, Total Atrocity. Air Supply, excellent metal band for sure. Yeah. Mass Preppa, that's awesome. See, a lot of like the newer metal, like Ginger and somebody else said like Demon Hunter and all that stuff. Suffocation, played some shows with Suffocation back in the day. I'm not into newer metal, man. I'm just not into it. It's a bunch of, it sounds like beta males trying to be alphas. It just doesn't quite have it. Just doesn't quite have it. Thank you, sir. Follow-up question is, why does it say to be baptized in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit? Can you please elaborate on that? Oh, it's simple. That was added to the Bible. That's why. Because the Holy Roman Empire wanted that in there. So now it says that. That was an addition to the King James Version. That's why. EMP proofing a truck. Any advice? Nope. I have no advice at all. I have an EMP shield on my truck. That's it. Nope. Jeffrey Prather, nope. Your favorite Bible quote, Exodus 15 verse 3. Yahweh is a warrior, Yahweh is his name. So for all the pussies out there that like, God is love, he's just love, he's just love, he's all love. Yahweh is a warrior, and Yahweh is his name. It's not the Lord, it's not God, it's Yod He Vav He. Yahuwah, Yehovah, Yahava, however you choose to pronounce it. It's certainly not the Lord, it's not God, it's not Baal, that's his name, Yahuwah. And he is a warrior, and he will go to war for you if you simply ask him to. And we're fearfully and wonderfully created in his image. I don't know, M. Grimes, how many friggin' times you gonna ask that question? Use your eyeballs. What do you think? Yod He Vav He. Exactly right. Can you do an entire stream in that feminine voice? No, my head would explode. Local prepper, 17 times. That is correct. Shalom, Vicky Fulkerson. Das Vidanya is one word. Oh, thanks, Alex M. I appreciate that. You were coming through very dark. Thanks, Butt Ugly. I'm doing the best I can with what I got where I'm at. I'm Roman Catholic. Do you know a good Bible site? isr-messianic.org. What are you planting the first of spring? Everything. Probably greens to start with. Why are you so smug? Recon and Supply. Why are you so banned? You're welcome, Cole LeBlanc. Keep doing those push-ups, because sometimes you should do the things, Cole. Make sure you're doing those things. P-break, send it. Thanks, Blaine. Can barely see you, Dark. Well, Butt Ugly, I don't know what to tell you. I'm here. What do you need to see me for anyway? You know what I look like. I'm just talking at an iPhone. Dude, just curious, large portion of the secular world would see you as crazy. Do you have any friends who see eye to eye with you? I have a lot of friends that see eye to eye with me. And the people that don't see eye to eye with me aren't my friends. It's as simple as that. Favorite Bible translation? The Scriptures, 2009 edition. TSR, 2009, available on the Bible app or isr-messianic.org. Good answer, Akanaste. Who cares what the secular world thinks? Echo chamber. You know, when it comes to my friends, maybe. But it's not I don't only consume things that reinforce my worldview. Thank you, Brian Prance. Favorite warrior story from the Bible? Well, there's a couple of really good ones. There's a lot of really good ones. I like the fact that Phineas jumped up in the middle of the temple and speared two people, one of which was a whore from another nation, and it was accounted to him as righteousness. That's a pretty cool story. I like the fact that Samson got pissed, and he was a righteous man of the Most High Yah, and got pissed, you know, a servant of Father God, and gets pissed and picks up the jawbone of an ass and beats 1,000 men to death with it. It's part of why it's, you know, all the polo wearing beta males like, Jesus is love. God is, it's all about the love, brother. It's like sometimes you need to beat a man to death with a jawbone of an ass. Okay? Right? That's a good story. There's another story, I believe it's in Judges, that there was an older gentleman who had a staff, and over the course of 30 days killed 600 Philistines with his staff in 2s or 3s. Badass. King David stacked tens of thousands of bodies. Badass. Caleb, I love Caleb because at the age of 85 years old, after 5 years of warfare in the Promised Land, Caleb says to Joshua, hey man, I want that mountain. I want Hebron. And Joshua says, dude, there's 3 giants up there. And Caleb says, I'm paraphrasing, New Living Bear translation, I don't give a shit. I'm as good today as I was 45 years ago when Moses tapped us on the shoulder and said, hey, y'all go spy out the land. And Joshua says, paraphrasing, if you can take it, you can have it. And Caleb, paraphrasing, says, yo boys, grab your swords. We're going up the mountain. And he goes up the mountain and kills not 1, not 2, but 3 giants at 85 years old. Badass. Let's see. Yeshua flipping tables. Big fan of that. John chapter 3. Yeshua flipping tables in the temple. There's 1,000 other great ones. That's why my favorite verse is Exodus 15 verse 3. Yahuwah is a warrior. Yahuwah is his name. Elijah and 400 prophets of Baal. Dude, your arm would get tired beheading that many scumbags. 400 prophets of Baal down by the Wadi Kidron. Come on, dude. Thoughts on 3,000 troops to Eastern Europe? It's way more than that. It's way more than that. Hold on a second. This lamp up here is giving me a headache. Got a little lamp up here. Go to sleep, little lamp. There we go. Oh my gosh, Bear, it's so much darker now. Yeah, I know. We're going to be okay. It's way more than 3,000 troops that are going to Eastern Europe. It's probably more than that. What would you recommend for a Stag AR-10 optic 18-inch barrel? Depends on your distance to the target. I like the Primary Arms Arc 2 MOA 4-14 first focal plane. I like that scope a lot, and it's only like $250, $300. And I just got my hands on a Primary Arms 6-24x50 GLX, which I don't have on an AR-10 yet, but that's where it's going, and it's going to be badass. A rafting square is rafter square is today's equivalent of a jawbone. I agree with that. Thank you, TJ Drama. What are your thoughts on North Korea, brother? I think the hype around North Korea, there's more there than meets the eye. I don't think North Korea poses a threat to mainland United States, maybe to some of our protectorates, but they're a puppet state of China, man. They could nuke the western coast of America. Maybe. I don't think they're going to be able to get a missile from North Korea to our west coast without us knowing about it and intercepting it. Their missile technology is not that great. So, bolt action 308 or AR-10. Depends on what you're trying to do. In a DMR role, AR-10. We're talking 308, so extreme long range with an AR-10 is probably out of the question, or with a 308 is probably out of the question anyway. There's some really good 308 bolt guns out there. It depends on what you deem your volume of fire needs to be. But frankly, a good AR-10 is going to shoot 1 MOA anyway. So that means you got a 10-inch cone of fire at 1,000. And that's more than adequate. So, do you keep your Rams with your U's all the time, or do you separate them? Yep, they're in full time. They're in there full time. Love all my refuge medical goods. Thank you, Jason Hart. I appreciate that. Classic fun guns. We were just shooting Ruger 1022s the other day, just for fun. Thoughts on the M14 for a main battle rifle? John Galt, we just discussed this. We just had this conversation a moment ago. And here comes my wife. Come on in, sweetheart.
Oh my gosh, it's freezing.
Do you want to be on camera, or do you just want to be in here? So if you're going to be on camera, we're going to have to adjust a little bit, which I'm happy to do.
I'll just be background noise.
You'll just be background noise? You're going to help me deal with the shenanigans?
Yeah.
Whoa, bro.
Sorry.
Oh, now all the people can see me. They're going to be so excited.
Can they see you?
I guess they can now.
Let there be light. How many brings light into the world?
Look at you go. Did you bring water?
I did.
That was very
My
wise
water.
of you. Your water.
My
Huh?
water. I'm not sharing.
Sharing is caring?
Nope.
So you're in a not caring mood? That's cool.
You drink, like, your sip is like a bottle.
Yep. Staying hydrated. Miss Lovely Dudley says, "Hi, homie."
Hello. I'll say hi real quick. Hi, people.
That's my wife.
It's cold.
For those that don't know, Vicky also says hi. Oh my gosh, brush your hair. Oh, come on, Jeffrey. He put a smiley face in there, so I guess you're just trolling me. Can I get your opinion on the Berkey water filter? Have it, love it, it's awesome. What do you want, Sam? There's not room for you in here. Come on.
Come on.
Come on.
Come on.
Come on. Come. Okay, don't. He's looking at me through the window. Hey, Dad.
He's gonna break, though.
Hey, Dad. Can you see him? Oh. Hey, Sam. Say hi to the people. Well, then come in, you dum-dum. Come on. Do you separate pregnant ewes from the herd during lambing? Nope. What breed is Sam? He's an Anatolian Pyrenees mix.
And sometimes we separate. Like, sometimes I'll give the moms like a day or two. It just kind of depends on how they're doing and how the babies are doing and all of that. But if I can keep them out there, I keep them out there and bring them in when they need.
Indeed.
But that's after they've had babies, not while they're pregnant. While they're pregnant, they stay because everybody's pregnant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does Sam smoke Drew Estates? No. Dum Dum is my dog's name. John Galt, we literally just discussed the M14 battle rifle. I'm not going to do it again. Like, literally, we just got done, like 5 minutes ago. What building is that? We're in the outhouse, bro. That's how you know you're Oklahoma pimping, when you live stream from your outhouse. So.
It's just because he can smoke his cigars out here and have a kerosene heater.
It's propane, ma'am.
Or whatever.
It's propane.
Propane.
Police yourself.
But yeah, this is like his hidey hole come super cold winter when
it's a good
miserable
move.
to sit on the back porch.
It's a good move.
Yeah.
And you know what's not in here? Kids.
That's true.
So, yeah, here we are. Does your sheep need a barn in this weather? You know, they have an enclosure. They have a running enclosure that we built for them. We're like, hey, what's up, Alpha Charlie Concept? Shalom, brother. They have a running shed, and they don't use it. They just lay in the field and get snowed on and go, "Mah."
Yeah.
Look at you with snow on their backs. It's like, hey, you dumbasses could have gone into the sheep shed, but you didn't. You just laid there, so there you go. Yes, that's an aromatic candle. You two are the real deal. Thanks, Glock 316.
I'm literally like in my house coat, bundled up. Like, I'm always in my house coat. I live in this thing practically because I'm like always cold in the wintertime. So,
Me, not so much.
yeah, you not so much, but me, I'll throw my house coat on over whatever it is I'm wearing, and I house coat all day long. Yes, Smokey.
Oh, it's hot in here. Yeah, you are late 7th hour. Wait, were you just talking about the M1A? How do I watch that? You grab the little slider at the bottom of the bar and grab the red button and rewind it.
You go backwards.
Probably
But
about
do
10
it
minutes.
after you watch, because otherwise you're gonna be all messed up.
Hello to your wife. I'd love to see some of her content on running the household. We've had a lot of homie videos lately on Patreon.
Yeah.
A lot of
old ones too.
Yep.
Like, I do a lot. Let's just put it that way.
Which would you recommend for an AR? Red dot with swing out magnifier or variable with iron 45s? I would recommend a third option, low power variable optic with no offset red dot or irons. They're just too good. They're just too good. Because I have irons on a 45 on one of my rifles that has magnified optic on it. I don't use them. I don't, like, they're just there. They just add weight. They're probably going to come off, honestly. How do you shoot a gun? Wrong live stream for you. You need some remedial training and then come back and see us. Oklahoma pimpin', right? How do you get the name Bear? It was given to me.
Yeah, I mean, just look at him. He looks like a bear.
I'm big,
I've met
furry, and I'll kill you in the woods.
And if you bite me, you end up dead. I didn't realize you had like panned to me. Thanks.
Yeah. Look, somebody said, look at him. And then Stumps Roost and Shoots and said, he is a bear.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go feed Jack.
Thoughts on the Apocalypse of Adam, the Forbidden Books. So, interesting you bring that up. I come into the house one day and my wife is just like unhappy. She's like slamming cabinet doors and flopping stuff in the sink. And I'm like, what's wrong? And she's like, nothing. I'm like, yeah, that's not nothing. What is wrong? What's the matter? And she kind of spins around and she goes, damn it, Adam was a pussy. And I'm like, what? And she goes, have you not read that book yet? I'm like, no, what have you been reading? And she was reading that and she goes, he just keeps dying. He just keeps crying and dying. And he's so dumb at one point an angel of the Lord has to show up and tell him to eat because he hasn't eaten for 83 days, and then he eats a pomegranate, and then he almost dies from that. Another time his blood sugar gets low, and he rolls down a mountain, and then he dies, and he's crying, and Eve's crying, and the angel shows up, and they're crying, and everybody's crying and shit. I was like, take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. So yes, I've read it, and is it God-breathed scripture? No, I don't think it is. Is it an account of a portion of the oral tradition? Yes, I do think it's that. And basically what you get out of it is that Adam and Eve were like grown babies. Yep. They didn't know how to eat because they never had to eat, right? They didn't know how to wipe their own ass because they never had to. They didn't, all these things about being a person they didn't know how to do because they were in the garden under the Father's covering. And then once they weren't, they were full-grown babies. They didn't know how to do any of that stuff. So, but then as they grow, the angel of the Lord, Yeshua, Jesus, continuously shows up and guides them through this, and they follow in his steps, 1 Peter 2:21, and they learn how to people, and they learn how to serve the Father, and he becomes the patriarch of all mankind. So, shalom, Lee. And figure the size of watermelons, right? So, yeah. I've read it. I own it.
Yeah, it was an interesting rendition.
What's your wife's favorite brand of holster? I know the answer to this. It's not what you think. You want to answer that question?
The only one that we've found that would work with my gun.
The one that she has?
Yeah, the one that I have that I never wear.
Yeah, it's Kydex.
I'm a bad carry for, like...
Yeah, you're getting better.
Yeah.
You're getting better. It's, she has a Walther with a weapons light on it, and it's not exactly easy to find a Kydex holster that fits that.
Ready-made holster, yeah.
Yep.
Just stick it in my pocket.
Holster, LOL. More Christians should pay attention to the oral traditions. More Christians should read their Bible and do what it says, and then take it from there. Like, let's just start with, what does the Bible say? I've met a lot of people, unfortunately, that claim the name of Messiah and don't even know what the damn Bible says. How much of the Bible, KJV, that most people use is Elohim breathed scripture? Most of it. The problem with the KJV is that there was an obvious agenda behind that translation, and they definitely added stuff to it, and they took some stuff away. So you lose the Apocrypha, the Dead Sea Scrolls, right? You go from 88 canonical texts down to 66 canonical texts. So you lose a quarter of what was there, including, second Esdras, third Esdras, fourth Esdras, Enoch, Jubilees, Jasher, so forth and so on. You lose all of that. That's no bueno. And then the rest of it, praise the Father, like we have scrolls to go back to, and scholars have done this. You very clearly, like it's very easy. You can Google now or DuckDuckGo now changes to the King James Bible, and it's clear as day. And so you can see what was added, what wasn't added. So, but still, the answer is most of it. Most of it.
The thing that I find is like there's certain words like righteousness that carries a certain meaning to it, and they'll use something like good in replacement of it, and it just doesn't carry the same message that, to me, the scriptures do.
Right. And see, a lot of people don't understand that there is a translation of the Bible called the Scriptures, and that's what we're talking about, is the Scriptures. No, righteous equals justice. Yes, but actually righteousness equals a lot of things. Luke 1 verse 6, New Testament has the best definition of righteousness for me that I like. What it is in the New Testament, righteousness is equated to blamelessly walking in the commands of the Father. So, no, I don't think the KJV is the best version we have. I think the Scriptures, for me, is the best version we have. it's a good balance between readability and accuracy. So, can we get a Bear Torchlighter collaboration for our kit and our sticks? Ha, maybe, bro. Shalom, Glock 316. Thank you. Someone asked, can't read that far forward. Well water for long-term storage. Oh, yep. Bear, it's both surprising and unsurprising to me how many people in North Texas didn't learn from that last year's ice-pocalypse. A lot of people are whining and complaining down here. Yeah, man, a lot of people are stupid AF.
A lot of people just don't get it. Like, it's that way just with life. Like, you gotta beat them over the head, and even that usually doesn't work. They just keep making the same mistakes over and over and over, and they whine and they bitch, and it's extremely fruitless. Like, but people are just that way. They don't learn. They don't learn their lesson.
Thank you, Fo, for your clear drink.
Yeah, like sheep. Like, they just keep making the bad mistakes, keep not paying attention.
What's the best life advice you got and didn't take and wish that you had taken?
What?
The best life advice that you've gotten that you didn't take, but that you wish that you had taken.
That's a thinker. Like,
So, my old man had a sign that hung up in his office, the plaque. He had several, but one of which said, if you can't find the time to do it right, when are you going to find the time to do it over? And I'll tell you this, every time I've transgressed that, it has been a pain in my ass. I do it right the first time. Just do it right the first time. The second is, and this is something I need to remind myself on the regular, is finish strong. It's easy to start something, but don't start something you don't intend to finish. And that's something that I have to remind myself about all the time, because we have so many different irons in the fire. Don't start something you don't intend to finish. Finish strong. And that comes back to the Torah. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. If you say you're going to do something, do it. If you say you're not going to do something, don't do it. And there's another lesson in that. Be slow to speak. Right? Especially in weighty matters. Like this, to me, right, what we're doing right now, this is fun. This is my job, to speak at the iPhone. This is fun. I enjoy it. But if somebody needed some wise counsel, I shouldn't just immediately just start blathering out of my mouth a whole bunch of bullshit that's not going to benefit that brother any. Be slow to speak. Say the right thing at the right time. In fact, there's a proverb for that. Right? A kind word in its season is better than honey, I think is how it's phrased. Although I forget, honestly. But so be slow to speak, and when you do, let your yes be yes and your no be no. Don't go back on your word. And that comes to honesty and integrity. And don't start shit you don't intend to finish. And if you start it, finish strong. So.
Somebody asked me a question.
Send it.
David said, Homie, how loud is the freeze dryer? So I have a medium freeze dryer with the Premier pump. I specifically wanted the Premier pump because it is a lot quieter than the standard or the oil-free pump. So I've got the Premier pump, and it running with the pump running, it sounds about the same noise as like a window AC unit.
It's quieter than that.
It's slightly quieter than that, but it's that kind of just white background noise. And I've got it in an open room, no door, no nothing. It's just a enclosed room. And we can hear it running in the background, but it's not like loud.
I think if you didn't know what it was and you walked into the house, you'd be like, what's that humming?
Right, kind of like a dishwasher running.
It's more like a dishwasher running to me than a window AC.
Yeah.
But
they're not loud at all.
Yeah.
But it's also because I have the Premier pump that is significantly quieter. I think it's like 53 decibels. Like the machine running, the condenser on the machine is louder than the pump is.
Mm-hmm. Say what, dude? I don't know. You say what? Bear with a town of 187 people count as coming out and hurt my people. I think so, as long as you're out of there mentally. Is there a name for churches that are Torah observant? Go on to the 119 Ministries Fellowship Finder, 119ministries.com, and check that out. They have a bunch of assemblies on there. Oh, I've been shot in the left arm. Jeez, hold on.
Oh no, go, go.
Oh no! Hurry up, you're dying. Time. We're here. What's up, Deborah?
Oh, you're playing. Sorry.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. You already see the veins of the back of my hand standing up? See that? That's how you know it's working. Right there.
What? It's working.
I got shot in the left arm. I got a tourniquet on.
Oh.
Does it hurt? Yeah, that's how you know it's working.
Yeah, they are not like
you
supposed
you
to
tell
be
them.
pleasant.
You tell them.
They are not supposed to be pleasant putting them on. It hurts. It hurts significantly to the point that you might be tough on the outside, but on the inside you're like, oh damn, please get this thing off. Like, I don't want this on me anymore.
I got this one on good too.
Yeah.
It's on good.
That's just how tough he is.
Look at these veins. Look at that. Yeah. What are we, a minute in? Look at that. That's exactly right. Garen remembers. It's one turn past MFer.
Yeah.
If you've ever come to the 4-hour class, the Responder 1, we talk about one particular incident. There was a mechanical amputation. A gentleman on a motorcycle, and I won't give too much of it away because it's part of the curriculum. But this guy lost his leg, and he was screaming about how much it hurt that his leg was gone as he was rolling around on the ground. And one of our instructors, Eric, was the paramedic on scene that responded to this. Tourniqueted the guy, used the soft T on that guy, and after he got the tourniquet on, he was begging Eric to take the tourniquet off because the tourniquet hurt so much. His leg was gone, and he was begging Eric, our instructor, to take the tourniquet off because it hurt more than losing his leg. Okay? They hurt. That's how you know they're working. Soft T or SWAT T? Well, so for using on yourself a soft T, in order of priority here, best to worst. The best for self-care is the Cat 7 tourniquet, Cat Gen 7 from North American Rescue. Then the soft T, and then the SWAT. Okay? Then, for using on other people, it's still basically the same order. The nice thing about a SWAT T, and I've actually got one in this pocket. Right here is a SWAT T. The reason I have it in this pocket is because it's stretchy and I can use it as a pressure bandage. I can use it as a tourniquet, but I can also use it as a pressure bandage. And so you carry that, carry the SWAT T with a pack of compressed gauze. I basically now got a pressure bandage and in a little tiny shape like this. And it also works great for children. Yep, also SWAT T for children. That's exactly right, Andrew Stanek. So I like these a lot. TACMED makes a version that's even better than this that we're going to start including in our kits at refugemedical.com, which, by the way, just take a moment. Anybody that's interested in handmade, made in America, guaranteed forever kits, refugemedical.com. Use promo code BearNation. That'll get you free shipping. Chuck, that's also correct. They work great on canines. You can't use a cat tourniquet on a canine. Additionally, the pocket in stock. I've got it. It's called the pocket because it rides in your pocket, right? Personal operations casualty kit, POC kit, pocket, right? And it's like yay big, and it's tiny, and it's got everything inside of it, right? Got a Sharpie. You can add a decompression needle. It's got gloves. It's the insert from the SOB. It's got a pressure bandage. It's got combat gauze, compressed gauze, 2 hyphen chest seals, a nasopharyngeal airway, flat duct tape, all in a super tiny package. It fits in a pocket. So, 90s wallet size. That's exactly right. It fits great in a cami pocket. Perfect for cargo pants. That's exactly right, Gray Mouse. And that's what I'm wearing. And that's where it is. And so you can get that at refugemedical.com, as long as, or in addition to everything else we have there as well. Use promo code BearNation, free shipping. The best. Cool. So, what else we got? I bought a bare minimum from y'all, and it's absolutely amazing. Everything in a compact, well-made kit from the USA. Thank you, Kristen. I appreciate that. Shalom, Danny. Danny Jackson, shalom. What's different about the TACMED SWAT? It's half the length, which is good because typically we take the SWAT T and cut it in half, and it's a lower cost, and it's a little bit more stretchy, which actually makes it easier to achieve a tourniquet with it if you're not trying to just pressure bandage it. Get those buckets before Bear does his thing with them. That's exactly right. Get those buckets before Bear does his thing.
Y'all.
Bear, of course you can't use the cat, T, and a canine on their dogs. Oh, Dragon Shield. LOL. Alright, so Liam said, Liam here from Calgary, Canada. I have a really great question for you. I love Carhartt stuff, but now that they turned douchebag, what are the next best gear, pants, and jackets? The answer to that, Liam, is I don't know yet. I don't know. I love Carhartt too. I've built a lot of businesses in Carhartt. I've done a lot of work in Carhartt. I have certain Carhartt gear that's over 2 decades old. Jackets and pants, that I work in every day, over 2 days old, or 2 decades old, rather. I don't know, man. I really don't know. I haven't come to a determination yet. I know I'm not going to buy any more Carhartt, but I don't know what I'm going to be buying next. So,
Yeah, there's another company. What was it? I told you.
I don't know. Donnie O'Keefe said, when is the pet kit coming out from Refuge Medical? We have a canine kit that will be launching soon. It's the same size as the bare minimum. Bare minimum versus SOB. The bare minimum is a great kit to wear on your plate carrier. That's where I have mine. And if you want a full-size trauma dressing, which I prefer, frankly, it's the kit for you. It's basically just a smaller bear fac. The SOB kit is designed for a war belt, although it also does great on the plate carrier. And it has a flat pressure bandage that is enough. It works, but it's not a full-size pressure bandage. So it's really just a matter of preference at that point. The bare minimum also makes a good car kit versus the SOB. Is really the whole idea behind the compact profile of the SOB is to get you the capability that you need in as small a package as possible for, and it was designed for competitive shooters. It's now in the warfighter space. JSOC has a bunch of bare minimum, or I'm sorry, not bare minimums, SOBs right now for testing and evaluation. And so for those that don't know what JSOC is, it's Army Special Forces, Navy SEALs, certain elements of the Marine Corps. Okay, and so they're running our stuff so that they can break it and give us details back on how to make it even better. And all the preliminary reports are they're very happy with it. So, but the bare minimum is more, it's a smaller full-size kit versus the SOB being a more compact kit. Yeah, I've heard about burn. Hey, what's up, Britt Banry? I've heard about burn. I'm going to actually check burn out, I think. My wife found another company whose name escapes us right now.
Big Bill.
Big Bill.
BigBill.com.
Bear, someone asked what to tell people who say they're just coming to your house. No, you're not. No, you're not. The end. I've hit this subject 1,000 times. You don't get to come to my house. I did all the work. You didn't. You don't get to come to my house. You took those vacations. You squandered your money. You didn't put your nose to the grindstone. You don't get to take advantage of all the work that I have done. And if my choice is to feed you or feed my children and my wife, I'm going to take care of my family, not take care of you. Because if you know me, you know that I have evangelized to you that you need to do the things. And you chose not to do them. That's on you. It's not on me. You're not under my covering. You're under your own covering. So you handle you. You're not coming to my place. And here's the flip side of that. If you do come to my place, and you're not prepared, I hope you enjoy eating beans and rice and beans, and you're going to work from sun up to sundown with a shovel, following Yeshua. Shalom, brother. You're going to work from sun up to sundown for room and board because you didn't do the things, man. There's a Torah for servitude. I didn't say slavery. I said servitude. There's a Torah for that. Okay? So, if you want to put yourself in that situation because you refuse to do the things, that's fine. But understand, if you're going to come underneath my covering, there's positive and negative connotations for you with that. You now work in my direction. This isn't a democracy because I did the things and you didn't. Everybody's going to be working like that anyhow, LOL. Yeah, except some of us are going to be eating the sheep at the end of every day and salads out of the garden and everything else, and some of us are not. What else we got?
What part of the Torah helps coping with the loss of a loved one?
So, there's two immediate things that come to mind right there. The first is Abraham mourning the loss of Sarai. And he does. He wails. And he gives a beautiful eulogy for her, and with tears in his eyes. And he stands up and he tells the world how he feels about the loss of his wife. And it's a big deal. He spends 30 days, I believe it is, in mourning. And then he picks himself up by his bootstraps and he gets back to work because he's still got a family to lead, a nation to run. And later on, he takes a second wife. So you can mourn the loss of somebody. You can mourn the loss of somebody deeply, but you can't let it ruin you. And then the next thing that comes to mind is when David and Bathsheba, their first child, when they were out of wedlock, when they were not keeping the Torah, dies. And David, in the process of whether or not the child is going to die, David goes to the temple. And David's laying on the floor in front of the altar in the temple for, I believe it's a week. And he's fasting and he's crying and he's praying and he's beseeching the Father for intercession. Please let the child live. Please let the child live. And then one of his servants comes to him and says, hey, Your Honor, the child has died. And David has one last good cry. He prays to the Father. He commends the soul of that child into the Father's hands. And he gets up and he goes back to Bathsheba. And he repents. He teshuvahs. He says, you know, we were out of line. You were not my wife, but you will be my wife now. And then after they make it official, she gets pregnant again. And Solomon is born. And out of Solomon, you get the line of Yeshua, Messiah. So, yeah, there's a lot of deep teachings in that. But if it's in Yah's hands, it's in Yah's hands. It's already happened. Mourn. And it's okay to mourn. It's good to mourn the loss of somebody. But this is not a forever thing. It's not a forever thing. You mourn the loss of that person, and then you pick yourself up by the bootstraps, and you get back to it. Because Yah didn't make you to lay around and bawl your eyes out. You can feel the weight of the loss of somebody, but it can't destroy you. What else we got?
He said, thank you so much. I'm dead inside right now.
You're welcome. How do you prevent getting burned out of your house? You have a good security team. You have enough people around you that there's people to watch your place at night, because in order for somebody to burn you out of the house, they probably got to get pretty close to you. And a network, a mesh of people. You're not getting really close to me without a whole bunch of things going terribly wrong. And then if you did, trainer rifle. So, what are your thoughts on the Archangel Michael? Also, what about the Keys of Solomon? Well, there's the lesser and the greater Keys of Solomon. And if you're talking about Aleister Crowley stuff, you shall not suffer a witch to live, in which case I would say do not F with that stuff, because you're going to open a bunch of doors that you don't understand. And they're incredibly difficult to close, and you're going to invite demons into your life, frankly. And I don't remember what the first part of your question was, but do not F with the lesser and greater Keys of Solomon. Let me repeat. Do not F with the lesser and greater Keys of Solomon. You will start some shit that you cannot stop. Ask me how I know.
Somebody asked me what's my favorite incubator.
What's your favorite incubator?
Yeah.
Talk about incubators.
So, I went with like the cheap route. I forget, it did like 9 to 12 chickens.
The homemaker.
Homemaker.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think it was like $70 on Amazon or something. But the gist of what I learned with incubating is to have a secondary temp and humidity, like,
Scale.
yeah,
Yeah.
digital readout, whatever. Just because that's the main issue I think that most people have with incubators is they rely on the machine, and sometimes the machine messes up. Sometimes it's not calibrated right, and you have to like know your machine pretty much. But right now I've got a large, I think it holds like 49 eggs or something like that. A large foam one that I'm going to be using just because I'm getting to the point where I want a plethora of chickens. Our chicken numbers have dwindled quite a bit, so doing broods of 9 or 12 at a time, I want to do more. So I got that one.
Naturally.
Yeah, naturally, says the chicken lady. So I got a different one, but I'm waiting until spring, or at least closer to spring, before I start using that. But that's how I plan on using it, is with a secondary thermometer, just because I don't trust machines.
Well, you don't trust them because we've had issues.
We've had
so
issues
it's justified.
and bad hatch rates, so.
Yeah, it's justified.
And bantam hens are the best incubators. Like, I've got a little banty that almost guaranteed every year she'll hatch out a brood. So
It's about the only thing they're good for, though.
Yeah.
They're annoying AF otherwise.
Yes.
You can't read the questions.
Oh.
Whoa, what happened? I just joined Bear. What happened to your beard? Just having a feminine moment. What's up, Earthman? Thank you. Have you had any recent talks with Angry American? I have not. Is barbed wire fencing foes good enough for sheep? I don't know what FOWS means. Barbed wire fencing for good enough sheep? What?
I don't know.
Feminine bear. Barbed wire
That's
fencing
funny.
will work for sheep, but the problem is with the littles. Field fence works better.
Barbed wire, like, you need to do it the closer spacing, like the 6-strand.
Oh, for cows, I meant.
Yeah, that's fine.
Barbed wire for cows works fine, but for sheep,
Yeah.
it's going to be a problem.
But
Because-
with any animals, it's best to have a hot wire on barbed wire just because they're going to rub up against it. Like,
Yep.
any kind of fencing, animals are going to rub against, or at least attempt to, except for electric, because it hurts. So,
Isaac Barrett said, is that straight vodka?
yeah.
Yeah, it's this. It belongs to Faux Daddy. He left it here. I'm going to have to replace it for him. There's a Torah for that, so. What kind of water is that?
You, not me.
It's not water. When will you guys be going anywhere near Northwest Florida? You mean like when we were in Tallahassee? I have no idea. Tater water. Nice QRF. I have no idea when we're going back in to Northwest Florida or Florida in general. I think we have a Tampa class coming up. Don't we?
I don't,
It's maybe.
yeah,
It's a maybe right now.
I don't remember. I made a graphic, but I have not done anything with the graphic.
Chicken math. I'd like 10 to 12 chickens, so 50 it is. Yes,
Yes.
Jim Cremens. That's exactly correct.
That's how it works.
Thought you were coming to Texas soon. We are. We got a Waco class and a Houston class up in the store. May even be no.
There's Waco, there's Dallas, there's Houston. And Texas.
Waco, Dallas, and Houston. Right. So, pick one.
Yeah, they're like spread out a little bit.
Your North Dakota class is gonna be lit, eh? I know. I'm really looking forward to North Dakota. It's gonna be a blast. Houston is the 1st of March. Do you do any reloading? I don't. I let other people do that for me. Do you have issues with predators killing your livestock? No, because I have a 120-pound murder dog that kills predators. Yes, Dylan, refugetraining.com, Dallas classes. Before we had the murder dog, we did have issues with predation. And so the predators were killing the sheep, and now the dog kills the predators.
Yes.
So, in fact, on the other side of the creek over there, there's another dead coyote in the creek.
Is there?
Yep. So, good job, Sam. Good job, Sam. What type of murder dog? Anatolian Pyrenees mix. Bear Independent, AKs and Bibles. If y'all don't prep your own, you will be shot and put in a compost pile. I tried signing up for the Tallahassee class, but the registration was closed. Well, Kristen, Tallahassee was full. So,
Yeah, Tallahassee was.
watch out for the Tampa class then.
Yeah. But we also went to Daytona, didn't we? Or
Did we do a Daytona class? I can't even remember all the places we've been anymore. Y'all, we trained like 1,100 people in 2021. 1,100 people. Do we offer military discount on your IFACs? Absolutely. Email sales@refugetraining.com and we'll hook you up. Would you take an AK over an AR? Depends on the situation. Clearly, I possess both. Sacramento, California, not happening. I enjoy not being in jail because I will not have my Second Amendment rights regulated. So, Lakeland, Orlando, there you go. Sacramento, California class. Nope, here's why. See this? Oops, I'm a felon. Not doing it. You should come to the Vegas class, though. You should come to the Vegas class. Which one has more ammo? It depends. It depends. Appreciate the IFAC. Gonna get some training with you next time you're in Texas. Well, there you go. Dallas, Houston, or Waco. RefugeTraining.com. Phoenix class. Didn't we just do a Phoenix class?
We just did a Phoenix.
We just did a Phoenix class.
Y'all need to go sign up at RefugeTraining.com, and when we have a new class post, you will be notified.
Actually, you know what? Even better than that, you need to sign up at BearIndependent.com.
And that.
Because at BearIndependent.com, we send out a weekly email that is not a pain in the ass email. It's just like, hey, we got new dates. We're having a special on this product. Here's how you get these things if you're interested. That's it. Like, that's it. BearIndependent.com. Get on the mailing list, because when that stuff goes out, and a lot of that stuff's exclusive. Like, if you haven't gotten an Ungovernable t-shirt, get it, because when they're gone, right? And that launched first in the email. The training dates go out first in the email. All new products go out first in the email, and so you get a jump on all that stuff. And for things that are limited runs, you know first. So, the email news blast at BearIndependent.com. So.
Jen and Steve's Homestead Shenanigans said, do the cottons need electric fence? So their main pen is not electrified, and we pay the price for that. It's on my to-do list, just haven't done it yet. But then they have rotational grazing, and for that I have electric net fencing that we use. But yes, so kind of a half and half. They do and they don't. But they do also rub their butts like crazy against the pin fence.
Yeah, the field fence. That's how they scrape their old wool off.
Yeah. They rub and rub and rub and rub and rub and stretch.
And then you got to stretch more fence and stretch more fence. So somebody said, hey, yeah, Dr. Trevor, there you go. Thank you. Badger, thank you for all the good work you're doing. I see you, bro. Timothy Young, bless you. Oh.
I gotta feed Das Baby soon.
Feed Das Baby. Patreon membership equals 1 Starbucks coffee. Correct. And if you sign up for the year, you get 2 months for free. So. Oddball. How important is a mag in a semi-small town? I know what you're going to say. Just spreading the word, Brother Barrett. Victor Ross, it's everything. People are everything. You're just playing if you don't have people. Shalom, Chad. Keep that hair gorgeous. When is the Vegas class? I don't know. Stalwart Peacekeeper knows that stuff, and he's actually at a brother's house, which, if the roads weren't sheets of ice, I would be at myself this evening. But there's roads are sheets of ice, so I'm here instead. So. Shalom, Bug Out Bob, and shalom, ABT. Do you ever fast? Yeah, fairly regularly. What if I'm not a people person, Bear? Learn to be. How's the weather in Oklahoma tonight? Cold? What's it, like 20-ish?
No. I mean, it might, but the feels like is like in the teens.
Is it?
Or it was teens earlier.
Teens. It's in the teens, I guess. Being introverted too much isn't too healthy. Well, even if you're introverted, just get outside of your comfort zone a little bit. I can be an absolute extrovert at times, and I still sometimes need to pull back and give myself some space.
And I'm a huge introvert.
And you're a huge introvert.
I'm a huge introvert. I'm 100% happy just being by myself.
And
or being with like one other person, but
you still see the
but
value
it's
in
still,
tribe.
yes, there's still a huge value in having people that you can rely on and that can rely on you when it's needed.
Well, and the other thing to understand here, I was talking about this morning on the Patreon live stream this morning. These people are like our family. Like, they're our brothers and sisters. We love them, right? They're our family. And so it's not just like, well, when the world ends, we're all going to get together and we're going to like figure this thing out and survive the apocalypse. It's like, no, we're figuring out who's going to bring what to the potluck each week. Okay? Like, that's the level that we're involved in. We're figuring out whose house we're going to hang out at for drinks at the end of work. We're figuring out, like, where are we going to hold this kid's birthday party? Like, that's what we're figuring out. And so we have a lot more practice than most at being enmeshed, right? So it's good to have a group, but if your group is just going to sit around and drink coffee until it comes time to do the things and you've never built any actual context, you're going to have some serious problems. Shalom, Tony John.
I wish I was ice fishing. That'd be awesome. Looking at my little hole.
What's a good grandma gun? I don't know. Our grandma likes the Ruger PC Charger, so how's that for an answer? She's pretty good with it too.
Yeah.
So,
She was making.
yeah, she was doing good. You know, something lightweight, low recoil, easy to point, easy to shoot. So, M1 carbine, there you go. That's a great gun.
Is the power out? No, there's no power in the outhouse.
We're in the outhouse. There's no power in the outhouse yet.
Right.
There is an electrical panel over there,
Yeah.
up on the wall,
So we have a flashlight. There we go. Now you can be seen.
but I haven't done the wiring thing yet. Who needs to see me? What's the point?
They love seeing your
Why?
beautiful face.
Why? It's just, why? Barry, you've been shot by the potato water. The campfire chef is just trying to get back at me because I made him do push-ups earlier when I said, do the things. Because every time I say, do the things, he has to do 10 push-ups. So I guess it's time for him to do the things.
Ray McDaniel said, any tips on trucking through a mental rut?
Trucking through a mental rut.
I saw a good thing the other day.
Okay, so you talk and then I'm going to
I'm
talk.
totally going to butcher this because I'm not good with things, but it was, when you have a rough day, just remember you've had 100% success rate getting through rough days. And
That's a good point.
I like that because you always think like, oh, this sucks, I can't get through this, da 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 da, and chances are 100% of the time you've gotten through it and you've worked through it, and
That's a great point. You've had 100% success rate of getting through rough days.
yeah,
That's a great shift of perspective.
it is.
That's awesome.
So
I
that's
like
my
that.
advice.
So, rough days, right? Keep going. Keep going. A lot of the times for me, because I'm a morning person and I like to accomplish goals early, like I have a checklist literally every day. What did I eat? How much water did I drink? How much PT did I do? When did I do it? What was it? What was my power, passion, purpose, and productivity? Sean Whalen talks about this from Lions Not Sheep. Like, did I do all the things that I need to do? Did I read today? Did I read my Bible today? This is all part of my checklist, right? And if I don't start getting stuff accomplished early, my day starts going downhill and fast. And so sometimes it's about damage control. It's about what can I do right now that is, what can I do that does the least damage right now, right? And then also small wins. People miss the idea of small wins. Sometimes you're like, yeah, but I got to do this big giant thing. Well, if you do the big giant thing, without any momentum, it's not going to get done. So do the thing that takes 3 minutes and get that done, and then do the 5-minute thing, and then do the 10-minute thing, and then do the 25-minute thing, and then move on to the hour thing, and start building momentum. Also for me, it's probably going to be a bad day for me if I haven't, no coffee, bad day. No scriptures, bad day. No PT, bad day. Eat junk food, bad day. Bad sleep the night before, bad day. The thing is, all of that is within my control. I can mitigate and manage all of that. You gonna go feed B-Jack?
Yeah.
You gonna come back afterwards?
Yeah.
All right.
Someone back up.
Go on with you. So, I'm in charge of all of that. That's on me. And it's not the world that's telling me what I got to do. It's not my boss. It's not my wife. It's me, man. I'm in charge of all of that. So, if you're on a bad trajectory for a bad day, don't just give up and go, well, I guess it's going to be a bad day then. Like, no, stop. Take a deep breath. Take a 15-minute break to clear your head. Pray, meditate, do push-ups, whatever you got to do. Re-engage, man. It's as simple as that. Shalom, Hunter Kirk. Sometimes it's okay to talk to a professional. It's another great point, Dr. Trevor. Sometimes it is okay to talk to a professional. If you're consistently having bad days, I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to do this thing. You start having thoughts like, why does the world even need me? Why do I need to get out of bed? It'd be better off if I wasn't even here. Blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, you need to go talk to a professional. And that's okay. It's totally okay. I have at times, I have had, and I've talked about this openly, I have had points in my life where I've thought, you know what would be really good right now? If I just put this gun in my mouth and pulled the trigger. No, that would not have been really good. And praise the Father, I didn't do it. But I'm certainly familiar with what a Glock tastes like, okay? Sometimes you need to go talk to a professional. And that's okay. Because really what that does is it gives you a pressure relief valve, and B, it gives you a different perspective. And then C, it puts you back on a pathway towards betterment. So, AVT will be talking at ATS, the men's retreat, Arming the Saints. So I'm looking forward to that. Amen, Nathaniel F. Amen. Professionals put you on meds, not good. Nope, not mine. Not me. So, I'm on no head meds. Call a buddy. Amen, Chris Bobby. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Stumps. Thank you, Okie. Let's just get that guy and just make him not be here anymore. Watch this. Boom. Toodles. Ban hammer. Bye. Kentucky deployment update. They are squarely in the recovery phase. And we're still trying to figure out if we can even legally somehow get that lady a house. And if we can, we will. And if we can't, we won't. But the relief effort of Kentucky is done. Praise the Father. Relief is the immediate needs: food, water, shelter, fuel, medicine, acute medical needs, clothing, transportation in some cases, and then it shifts to recovery, long-term rebuilding. Best day you have had with Hami and when you realized she was the one to do life with. So 9 days after I met my wife, I told her I loved her, which was awesome because she was like, cool, I love you too. Let's do this thing. I was like, badass. Let's do it. Best day I've had with my wife. We've had a lot of best days. Fishing, we like fishing. She's good at it. Camping, she's good at that. And we enjoy that. We enjoy being in the woods together. I like going on date nights with my wife. I like going on date weekends with my wife. Best day. Probably Red Feather National Forest in northern Colorado. Big storm. Hail. Nothing but a little tent and me and her and a massive storm. And it was a blast. So, let's see. Who said that? Charles Sutton. Hey, thanks for the Discord. I found another bear family just about 15 miles or less from my family. That's all Badger, bro. Good job, Badger. That's awesome. By the way, there is a bear Discord that JS Badger manages, and that's awesome. Good job, Badger. I probably could just turn my weapons light on, right? On the trainer rifle. Does that help? That helps a lot, doesn't it? But I want that battery charged. Favorite brand of AR-10? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Unless you want to spend $5,000 on a precision setup. Doesn't matter otherwise. -5, Roger. Any gun paints in addition to Brownells? Dude, I just use Rust-Oleum. Hey man, looking to buy my first chainsaw. Recommendations? Tactical Realtor. Great question. Steel brand MS362 20-inch bar wrap handles. Steel 362 20-inch bar wrap handles. Did a whole video about this thing on Patreon recently. Highly recommended. Here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. People talk about all the time, like, did you Cerakote this gun? Did you paint it with that gun? Did you blah, blah, blah? If your shit is a safe queen, why do you care? Honestly, why do you care? Go use your shit. I have guns that have 12 coats of spray paint on them. And you know what? I don't care. Because they run and they're not a giant black line that stands out, you know, in the background. Go use your stuff. If you're afraid to get spray paint on it, you're probably afraid to get mud on it, which means you're not training with it. Go use your stuff. What's your best method to preserve eggs? We don't preserve eggs. We give them away. We've water glassed them. We've rubbed them in mineral oil. We've done all kinds of stuff with them. We give them away. Because you know what? Tomorrow there's even more eggs. If I already have an abundance of eggs, tomorrow there's going to be even more eggs. Like, we just give them away. Bought some stencils on Amazon, did a killer Krylon camo job myself. There you go, man. Just spray paint your stuff. 9 months after that stormy night in the tent. Nope. Steel flash can get you killed. Paint that pipe. Yeah, exactly, man. Bare minimum versus SOB kit. Are they the same innards? They're not the same innards. So we were talking about this earlier. The bare minimum has a full-size pressure bandage. And the SOB has a compact flat pressure bandage. That's the primary difference. And that and the form factor. The bare minimum is about the size of a standard. It's a little bit smaller than a standard IFAC pouch, and it's laid out for prioritization of care. It's an IFAC, individual first aid kit. That's what it's designed to be. The SOB kit is a compact kit that has a small pouch that's packed full of everything you need. Thank you, Swamp Donkey Jeeper. But it's designed to fit on a war belt. It also works great on a plate carrier, but it's designed to fit in the small of a back on a war belt. How do you get medical device use authorization for purchase of decompression needle? Had training but no documentation. Cheeks in the wind, you go to our store and you click the box. Good evening, Bear. Do you ever take time to watch movies? Nope, I don't. I take time to do live streams with y'all instead. Yeah, the bare minimum also has full-size hyphen chest seals and a full-size pressure bandage. The SOB has compact chest seals and a fold-flat pressure bandage. How long do we have on the buckets, Bear? I'd do it within the next week. Maybe sooner. How's that for an answer? Hey, the camping chef, you feel like doing some more push-ups? How long do you keep the hogs on the wallow? I don't have anything to do with dirty swine, so I don't know. Favorite movie? How about favorite movies? Terminator 2, Braveheart, Rambo, First Blood, The Patriot, here comes my wife again, and my battle dog. Yeah, Braveheart, Terminator 2, Rambo 1, The Patriot. I mean, is there anything else? Come on in, baby. How did you do?
You want to come in?
Come on, dog. Okay, don't come on, dog. Battle axe or sword? Battle axe for sure. Full Metal Jacket. Favorite drummer? Oof. Gene Hoglan from Death. Trim Torson from Emperor. I like Horg from Immortal a lot. Horg wasn't terribly impressive, and most of the drums that Horg played, Abath wrote, but I like Horg. Horg's a great dude. I've gotten to know Horg over the years. Great dude. Yeah. Most of the drummers I know, y'all will have never heard of, so. What about that Meshuggah guy? Thomas. He's a good drummer. Not... Guys, I'm kind of a snob when it comes to drums. Like...
He's a big snob.
When everybody's like, oh, Joey from Slipknot. I'm like, bruh.
The training I used to do battle dog is Fairy Livestock Guardian dog training. They were on Facebook, but Facebook got stupid about them talking about throwing buckets at dogs. So they moved on, and they are on Patreon, and they are also on a platform called Mighty Networks for like $3 a month, I think. And I can't speak any more highly of this training. And you can use it for any dog, not just a livestock guardian dog. Although it is more specialized training to that arena. But awesome group of ladies. One main lady that runs it, and she will tell you exactly what she's thinking, and that's one of the reasons why I love that page, because it's not a whole bunch of frou-frou. I love cuddle, cutesy dog, and it's not just throw them out with livestock, and they'll figure it out. So, fairy, it's Faerie.
Something like that.
Something like that. It's like some off spelling of fairy, but what?
I don't know. I was just thinking about doing a thing.
Show off.
Who's your favorite drummer, Bear? I don't know. That guy's pretty good. Just saying.
That guy's the best. Yeah, Milk Bunny's a fairy. And you just can't beat the trait. Like, Tamara is the best. She's awesome. She's a Maynard, so, they're crazy as all get out.
Good newer metal bands. Not sure. It's like Army Intelligence or Jumbo Shrimp, man. I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. When is the Bear drum kit coming out? I can't afford the Bear drum kit. Y'all, we're not having a Bear drum kit. Oh, you mean like the first aid kit for drums? Okay, because sometimes like a drum set is also referred to as a drum kit. And I couldn't buy today my drum set if I had to replace it. What?
No, just Phoebe said, tell us more about Metaverse. PJ and SK talked about it, but I didn't quite understand it. Yeah, there's nothing to understand. Like, the whole thing doesn't make a lick of common sense. Like, if you have common sense, you're not going to understand the Metaverse. Let's just put it that way. Because I had the same question. I'm like, I've seen articles, I've, seen highlights, but like, what the hell is this? Properties selling for $10 million. Like, people are making, all this crazy money off of NTFs, like, or NFTs.
NFTs.
What the hell are
non-fungible
like,
tokens.
I just don't understand this. And so I asked Phelps the other day, stalwart peacekeeper, because I was like, he's kind of like a techie guy, like maybe, and he's explains it to me. I'm like, what? I'm like, really? Like, people are doing this? People are putting, all this, like, what the hell? And he's like, yeah, it doesn't make sense. And I'm like, I don't understand how this would make sense to anybody. Yeah. And like virtual reality, copy of this reality, like what the hell is going on? So that's why I was laughing, is because it doesn't make sense that you are saying everybody else is the crazy ones.
I don't know about the metaverse, but I know it comes from Mark Zuckerberg. I'm not interested.
Right, yeah.
I'm not interested. I like bear drums good. Thanks, Jimmy James. ABT. To be fair, though, Peacekeeper is a smart dude, and sometimes when he explains things, my doctor brain is even confused.
Well, that's true, but...
Oh, man.
I just don't get it. Like...
What kind of Kalashnikov is that? It's Gen 3 Palmetto. Love it. What are your thoughts on timber framing? No metal, no nails, just a build. Where are your chisels? Kenny, I think timber framing is absolutely awesome. The Northman Guild, if you're not familiar with the Northman Guild, check them out. They are awesome. Shalom, Whiskey Charlie. Timber framing's awesome. Joinery is awesome. It's labor intensive, but it lasts not a lifetime, several lifetimes. So I'm a huge fan of it. But you learn first before you go build something that people are going to live in is what I would recommend. Build you a sheep shed or a little gazebo or a dog house with timber framing before you go build a house with timber framing. The Amish can do timber framing. Yeah, they do some traditional stick framing as well, or conventional stick framing as well. So I hit Holy Outlaw because he's been kind of a pain in the ass for several live streams. So peace, Holy Outlaw. I don't know if you just like to drink and use your thumbs at the same time or what, but you're all over the radar. Half of your comments are like, that's deep and insightful, and the other half are like, rub pudding on your asshole and tell me I'm pretty. I was like, what's wrong with you? So later, bro. Phone about to die. Thank you, everybody. Let's pray for John Black's phone. No, we're not going to do that. Plug it up, John. Plug it up. What's wrong with you? There's a Torah for that. Yes, there is, Bug Out Bob. Yes, there is. Yeah, so I still do drum things occasionally, peoples. It's fun. I love my drum set. Like, thou shalt not covet includes your own stuff as well. We should be aware of that.
Yes.
Like, don't turn any of your materialistic stuff into an idol. We got, like, it's the same thing with weapons, right? Like, oh, what kind of weapon is that? Should I get this weapons light? Should I get this scope? What about this bipod? What do you think about this sling? I was thinking about getting this grip. What do you like? Who cares? Shoot the fucking weapon. Can you shoot it? Okay, we're cool. All right. Like, don't make idols out of materialistic things. Except Tama. Whiskey Charlie, you talking trash on my Tama? That's right. I love Tama drums. My drum set was handcrafted by a precision team of little tiny Asian people. Thank you, little tiny Asian people, for making my drums. Yes, it was. I bought that drum set on my 18th birthday. I had $12,000 in cash in my pocket, and I left the drum store with less than $200. So, the best things in life aren't things, exactly. What's a better insulation, fiberglass or foam board? What's your application? There's a reason they both exist. Tama, what? I had a Tama Rockstar set. Yeah, man, Tamas are good. Tama Art Stars, the Tama Babinga drums are phenomenal, dude. I played a Babinga set in a studio in downstate New York, and the studio engineer, we got drum sounds, right? We teched out the drum set. Hey, let me hear your kick drum. Let me hear your your snare drum. Blah blah blah. And we get done, and I start warming up, and he's kind of like watching me out of the corner of his eye, like, what is going on over there on this, like, it was a jazz kit, like a 20-inch kick drum. I had a double pedal on it, one kick drum with a double pedal, Iron Cobras, baby. And then like a 10, 12, 13 rack toms, then 14, 16 floor toms. I brought all my cymbals in, stands in, we set it all up, and we recorded like half of an album. We did a split album there, and we tech the drums. I start warming up, and then we record the first track. And we get done, and the engineer, and he's like in his 60s. He looks at me and goes, "I have never in my entire life heard one person play that many notes on a kick drum before." I was like, "Sweet." That drum kit sounded awesome. And their new walnut kits sound awesome. So, best first pistol for a woman shooter that is not very experienced. The one that fits her hands.
Yeah, women are finicky.
Why don't you talk about that a little bit?
Women are finicky. We do things differently than men and make choices differently than men. And when it came to owning the best firearm, like, T watches videos, he watches reviews, and like, it's just a different process. Whereas, like, I wanted to physically hold the gun, I wanted to feel the weight, I wanted to feel my hand on the grip and figure out, do I like the way that this handles? Because I would shoot his gun and still hit targets, still do all that, but I hated the way it felt in my hands. I hated shooting it.
Yep. Well, and I think, so we should all be students of weaponscraft. Like, everybody should be able to pick up any weapon that's on property, any weapon they encounter, and be able to run it, right? Like, it's a good goal to have. We should all be students of weaponscraft. Comma, I think men, because men, typically speaking, are more engaged in the shooting sports and do more training, have more experience with a wider variety of firearms than women do. And so I know what a Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0 feels like in my hand. I know what a Taurus feels like. I know what a Canic feels like. You know, or CZ, a Beretta, a Glock. Like, I know what all these things are. A Walther. I get it. My wife, not so much, right? Not so much. So,
Yeah.
there's less, it seems like, generally speaking, women are less cross-trained on weapons, and they tend to be more tactile. They want to feel it, they want to hold it. They're more physical, visceral, like...
Yeah, we don't necessarily care about the tactical aspect of a gun. Like, we want it to function, we want it to feel right.
We were doing this the other night with Forrest and Renee, just going through pistols. And the Taurus G2C, I was like, here, hold this. I was like, it has very aggressive stippling. That's good. It helps lock it into your hand. And Renee's like, I hate this.
Yeah.
Like, it's too grippy, right? So, the best gun for a female shooter, the one that fits their hand that they want, that one. Because you can learn to shoot anything. And see, people miss this as well. There's basically no difference between polymer-framed striker-fired pistols. The SIG, the Glock, the Walther, the Canic, the Smith & Wesson, they're all the same. They're all the same. Polymer frame striker fired pistols. They're all basically the same. They're all reliable. They're all reasonably accurate. They're all the same. So knowing that they're all the same, pick the one that you want and learn to shoot it.
Yeah.
Because you can learn to shoot anything. My lady loves the Taurus 709 Slim. Yeah, it's a good weapon. Shalom Lee. What else we got? We're 2 hours into this live stream. What else we got? Bye, Felicia. Every shot of 45-70. Yep, lever gun. Any gun is better than no gun. Yep, HK USP 45. There you go. That's a big gun. Canadian truckers. Yep. They're actually doing the opposite of trucking right now, but I think that's a good thing. I think it's good.
I think it's hilarious that they raise more money on the GoFundMe than any political party.
Yeah, tell them about that.
Yeah, so I saw this article the other day that said, like, their GoFundMe has raised over $10 million, and that's more than any political party, I'm assuming in Canada, has ever raised. And I'm like, that is one hell of a statement. But it also goes to question, like, how how the hell did we get here if that's the kind of support that that direction has?
People pretend to give a shit about politics, but they don't give a shit about politics.
Yeah.
The vast majority of people don't give a shit about politics, and then the professional voter has figured out that if they vote for the person that will give them the most stuff, that's what's good for them. And so it's turned into, I'll just vote for the person that's going to give me the most stuff. That's modern politics in a nutshell. It's horseshit, but good job, Dr. Trev. Good job.
Timothy, you can ask me questions.
Ask it.
I'm watching chat.
Ask it, Timothy.
I'm
Ask
here.
it. Do it. Do it now.
Sidelines.
Do it. Do it now. I'm here. Kill me. One of the best lines ever in an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie is in True Lies when his daughter is on a gantry crane and he's flying a oh gosh, what are they called? Marine Corps jump jets. He's flying this jet, a Harrier. He's flying a Harrier, and he goes, "Jump, Dana! Daddy loves you. It doesn't matter if Daddy loves you or not. I'm gonna jump off of a crane onto a jet. That's the dumbest shit ever. Like, jump, Dana! Daddy loves you." Dude, negative. Dana, don't jump. That is stupid. Dana should have had her concealed carry weapon, turn around and shot the bad guy off of the crane. End of movie, right? End of movie. Which is why you get your wife and your daughter the gun that they will carry so that they can shoot the bad guy off the crane so that you don't have to desperately implore them to jump off of the crane onto the jump jet, right? Just saying.
Yeah.
Well, get to the chopper is obvious. Who is your daddy and what does he do? How long does peanut butter store in buckets for? Years? Yes. A couple, 3 years at least. I think the label said 5 years on the bucket. Yeah, what a tie-in. Did you see that? You like that move right there, Andrew Sutton? All the moves. No way you could hold a Harrier still like that, right? Right? It's not a tumor.
Oh, I guess they seized their GoFundMe.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Way to go,
10
government.
million Canadian.
Way to go,
raised.
government.
It's under review.
It's under review.
Yeah.
GoFundMe is not a great organization to work with.
They are.
That's why we switched to Snowball from GoFundMe.
In New Jersey, just got 3 more pistol permits. Any suggestions? Leave New Jersey.
In New Jersey, just got 3 more pistol permits. Any suggestions?
Yeah.
Well, okay, first of all, yes. GTFO, New Jersey. Get out. Next, get the guns that fit your hands. That's it. That's it. That's it. Oh, Andrew Stanek, that's funny. Let's see. Leaving communist New York because I was fired for not taking the jab, taking my fam and my politics with me. Love hanging out. Awesome, man. Good for you. We all need some F-15s and maybe nuclear weapons. Let's do it. I wish I own a trash business. Don't wish. Get out. Get out. Oh, you own a trash business. Cool. I've owned multiple businesses in my life. I've lived and worked in 38 of the lower 48. If you wanted to, you'd do it. It's as simple as that.
Start a trash business
You don't
somewhere
wish
else.
because if you wished, you wouldn't freaking be there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna quit now, Bear. That was mean. Okay, it was mean. I'm gonna call you on your bullshit. You don't wish. You wish to be there, which is why you were there.
Lots of places need
My fucking head
really
explodes
good,
at this shit.
consistent garbage services. So that is something you could probably start a new business in any other state.
Yeah, bring the damn truck with you.
Yeah.
Especially in a rural area. You
Right,
show up
like-
with an operational trash truck in a rural
And you
area.
show up every, like, whatever your plan is, every 2 weeks, once a month. Doesn't matter.
No
Just
more-
show up.
No more business advice for this person because they live in the realm of fantasy. They wish they could leave without realizing they can leave.
Yeah. Excuses.
If you wanted to come out of here, my people, you would. Exactly, Bug Out Bob. Exactly. If you want to leave, you leave. I left Massachusetts for rural Montana. Exactly.
Right. You find your place.
Me and my wife are looking into getting sheep this year. Where can we get them at? I don't know, dude. Craigslist. I don't know. We got hooked up by some
Facebook
friends.
Marketplace. There's a couple like land or animal like websites.
Timothy Young had a freeze dryer question.
My freeze dryer has not been open since I purchased. How long can I wait to set it up? I have other priorities right now. Anything I need to do now, or can I wait 2 months? No, it's fine. It'll be fine sitting. I mean, it doesn't take that long to set it up. That's one note. We got ours set up in,
Under an hour.
yeah, like 30 minutes. And doing the bread run. So it's not hard, and it just kind of runs on its own. It's not something you have to stand there and watch. Although I do catch myself just standing there and watching it.
I told you, you need a freeze dryer channel.
I know. It's like watching the washing machine. Like
I told you, you need a
twirling
freeze dryer
around with the
channel.
bubbles. Yeah.
You need a freeze dryer. I'll buy the infrastructure.
But it should be all right just sitting for 2 months.
Hello, Rhonda Gregg.
But I wouldn't want to lose the 2 months worth of freeze dried food that I could have if I went ahead and did it.
The chat is going by so fast.
I know.
We moved 7 hours away from a major city and started a painting company in a small town. We have 7 kids and now 75 acres. You can move too. Exactly. If you want to do it, you can do it. If you don't want to do it, it's going to happen. Hello, Phantom Colts. Have you ever shot a KE Arms monolithic polymer lower? I haven't. I would like to have one, but I don't have a good reason to spend the money on it because the last thing that I need is to buy another AR-15 or AR-15 parts. Ya says go, you go. Exactly. Whiskey Charlie, bless you, brother. Robert Martin, praise the Father. I seem to remember some people that started a t-shirt company so they could move and then did. Oh yeah, Sanctified Supply Co. Yeah, exactly. I seem to remember a little channel called Bear Independent in North Texas that documented the move from suburban North Texas to rural eastern Oklahoma.
Right, that was pretty early.
4 years ago. So the whole like, you don't understand, I can't do it. Like we did it with an infant and an 80-year-old grandma. Come at me, bro. This doll? How much malt crack you want? Should I get land in mountainous wooded areas or areas more suited to friendly for crops? It depends on what you're trying to do. Flat land costs more. Mountainous land costs less because there's no infrastructure in the mountains and there's no sunlight in the mountains because you got to take all the trees out. So the question is really how much labor are you looking to put into it? It costs more to buy land that's basically move-in ready, right? In the valleys, land costs more. You also have better soil. And you have to do far less prep to get the land ready to work it. In the mountains, land costs a lot less, but it's way more labor intensive. So it's up to you, man, how much time and money you got to throw at the problem. Because cost benefit analysis, if you need to spin up agriculture right now, doing that in the mountains is a lot more difficult than doing it in the valley. You're going to spend twice as much for land in the valley, but you'll be up and running now. And if you don't have a lot of time to throw at the problem, a decent amount. I plan on putting a few storage units as well. Thank you for your advice. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I would do the cost-benefit analysis, man. There's a reason mountain land is cheap. And that reason is it takes a lot of effort to make it livable. It's also way farther away from utilities, which is something you have to think about as well if you're going to bring utilities in. Your cost,
Harder to build on.
it's harder to build on. It requires heavy equipment. You got to road build. You got to take trees out. It's a lot of work to buy mountain land. That's why it's cheap. But you don't understand, Bear. I got a stepson and wife's ex-husband won't leave New York. I'd have to divorce my wife and leave my infant daughter behind. My life ain't worth that, LOL. Well, you reap what you sow, man. Shalom, Tommy. Love you, brother. Be safe. Hey, 501st. No biggie, man. Praise the Father. Michael Abel. Bless you. Milk cow yet? Nope, not yet. If I come at you, brother, it'll be for a hug.
No, but I did figure
You're
out
gonna have to
which
get through
one
J.A. Dudley first.
I would milk if I was gonna put in the effort. I did figure out which one I would milk and wait, because our two other heifers, they didn't really bag up at all. Like, they had milk, but just not a very big udder. And then our last one, she finally went, and boy, oh boy, she has bagged up good. So she's who I have my eyes on, but she's also
She's the evilest
kind
bitch
of
on
the
the
ornery
property.
one.
She's
yeah.
terrible.
So it's gonna take some work.
There's one cow that I keep an eye on the whole time when I'm in the pen, and it's her. Because she might just get it. Miss y'all back, Jody Whipple. Shalom, brother. It's the whip. Cool whip. Utterly exploding. Oh, so funny. Andrew's so funny. Utterly interesting. Jeez. Sometimes Yah tells you to stay. Sometimes doesn't always tell you why. Shalom, PJD. It's good to see you, PJD. I'm actually I can't. Gosh, they go so far. They go. Class is planned for Idaho. Not currently. Patriot Nurse is on live. Love y'all. Shalom. Hey, Hermit Hill. Go tell her we said what's up. Good to see you, Andrew, there. Comrade, it is time. That's really smooth vodka.
The drink, yeah, like
Really
they're all
smooth
pretty
vodka.
smooth.
Potato water. I'm sorry, it's really smooth potato water.
Yes. Did you get the hat from a dead Russian major?
Da. Oopla, oopla, happy Russian noises. Oh, that's funny, man. That's funny. I haven't drank potato water since I was 14. I'm not really a potato water guy. I'm a whiskey guy, but, you know, I figured AK, really what started this whole thing, a little insight into how my mind works is like, it's cold outside. I need my fur hat. The fur hat needs the AK. Fur hat, AK, Russia, Ukraine, Belarus, vodka. Okay. Vodka. So, that's how we got the trifecta here. I cringe with every trig, every swig. Man up, man. Travis, man up. Even if it hurts, you don't show that it hurts. AK, fur hat, outhouse, snow, vodka. That's everything. Exactly. That's exactly right. Oh my goodness. Is it against Torah to eat meat with cheese? Nope. In the Mishpatim Torah portion, which was last week's Torah portion, there is the line where it says, you will not boil a baby goat in its mother's milk, which the Jews take to say no meat and cheese together. But if you go all the way back to Genesis 18 verse 8, I believe it is, Genesis 18 verse 8, Abraham presents the creator of the world and the author of the Torah with milk, curds, and meat at the same meal, and the father eats it. And he does not rebuke Abraham. So if ever there was an opportunity to correct that action, correct that behavior, it would have been right then and there, and he didn't. So if it was good enough for Abraham to feed the creator of the universe milk and cheese curds and meat all at the same meal, it's good enough for you. The Jews, however, have a long and storied history of taking what the Bible says and then adding the words of men to it, which is in of itself against Torah, because you shall not add to or take away from the word of this Torah. So, shalom, Leslie. Sin is lawlessness. That's exactly right. 1 John 3 verse 4. Precisely. And all who do sin do lawlessness. No bug meat from Bill Gates. Agreed. I'm not going to, and that, there's another example of Torah. Like, not supposed to eat that. It's not food. Not going to do it. It's all good, Luke. It's all good. Do you have a too long didn't read on the Lord's dietary laws? I do. However, it's not too long and you should read it. Leviticus chapter 11. You don't eat things with paws. You don't eat fish without scales. You do eat animals that have four-chambered stomachs. What am I missing here? You don't eat swine. So, no pigs, no shellfish or fish without scales, no swine, aka pork, and then you do eat animals that split the hoof and chew the cud, aka ruminants. There you go. Cows, deer, oxen, bison, sheep, goats. No catfish. Why no swine? Well, why no rabbits? Why no squirrels? If you look at all the things that the Father tells you not to eat, it's because they are parasitical cul-de-sacs. Okay, they are the HEPA filters of the ecosystem. They are the HEPA filters of the ecosystem. That's correct. No catfish. They don't have scales. So you don't. Yeah, giraffe is clean. I want to eat a giraffe. No bacon. It's swine. I eat beef bacon. Ruminants be tasty for sure. So here's the thing, right? And listen, y'all do you. I'm not going to get into a pissing contest over the internet with you, but I keep Leviticus 11. I don't eat anything that the Father tells me not to eat in Leviticus 11. Okay? That's true. Pigs make up a third of foodborne illnesses. Exactly. There you go. So horse doesn't split the hoof. No go. It's not food. Hell yeah, I want to eat a giraffe. Think about how much stew you could make with a neck like that. Think about how long the tenderloins are. Oh my gosh. Yeah, no sharks. So, anyway, they are parasitical cul-de-sacs. They are the HEPA filters of the ecosystem. You don't eat those. You don't take the filter out of your HVAC system, out of the furnace in your house, and pray over it and say, well, it must be clean now. The Father blessed it. I'm going to go ahead and eat it now. No, it's filled with all of the junk that the system collected. It's the same way with these animals. Things that go forth on paws, bottom feeders, shellfish, fish without scales, and pigs. And people say, well, it says right there in Genesis that all animals are good. The Father created all animals, and he said they were good. Tuna has scales, and it's delicious. Good to go. They are good. Quit being such an American psychopath and thinking that good means I can eat it. Pigs are very useful. They're just not food. Catfish are useful. They're just not food. Like, all these things are useful. They're just not food. So, that's me. That's my opinion. It's my conviction. You do you, but read the Bible and do what it says, man. I don't know, JBS. Apparently, at least one more time. Every time.
Somebody asked, what do y'all do to keep your relationship, and what happens if you or your wife found out you lied to her or she lied to you?
We yell at each other a lot.
And then we kiss and make up. But
what do we do to keep our relationship fresh?
I mean, number one, like, we don't lie to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not saying that we haven't ever. That's just saying we do our best not to. But when it's happened, we have yelled and screamed and gotten pissed. And then we forgive and we make up. And we say, we're not going to do this again.
And once forgiven.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, once forgiven, it's
yeah, you
forgiven.
can't, like, bring it back up, throw it in their face. That means you haven't let go of it. You haven't forgiven.
Yeah, you haven't forgiven.
So, but, yeah. But we try to just always communicate. Like, there should be nothing that you need to hide from your spouse. And if there is, then
you're probably doing something wrong.
You're doing something wrong. That's not any kind of relationship that I would want.
Well, we were talking about this on Patreon this morning. Your wife is your wise counsel. Like, that's biblical. Your wife is your wise counsel. Why are you hiding things from her? Like I said on Patreon this morning, people will pay attorneys for their counsel but not talk to their wife. Like, yeah. What? That's your wise counsel, bro. What are you doing? So, talk with your significant other. And then as far as, like, what do we do to keep things fresh? We go on dates.
Yep.
We try and be intentional. Like,
love each other.
Hold hands. Make dinner. Do the dishes. Like, connect. Like, dude, like, and everybody has, you'll hear a lot about this in the relationship space, but, like, love languages, everybody has different love languages, right? Like, I'm like a words of affirmation guy, and I'm a physical touch guy. My wife is an acts of kindness person. Like, she wants, like, thoughtfully, like, she wants you to do things for her that are thoughtful without her having to ask you to do them. And thoughtful could be, hey, if you see the dishes are in the sink, just go ahead and hit the dishes. If you know I'm not going to get to them so that the dishes don't pile up. Okay, takes 10 minutes, they're done, right? So understand, part of that communication is some people are nonverbal communicators. Like, how do you communicate with one another? And, like, we go on dates. We are very clear with our kids. Hey, you're awesome. You're created in the image of Yah, and we love you. But my relationship with my children is not as important as my relationship with my wife. Because if my relationship with my wife isn't good, there's no way my relationship with my kids is going to be good, right? So it's me and Yah first, and then me and Yah and my wife together, because she is a daughter of Yah. She is one of his daughters, fearfully and wonderfully made, and I am blessed that he has trusted me with the provision, protection, and blessing of one of his daughters. He gave me one of his daughters. Like, and I got to take that seriously, right? And if I don't take it seriously, guess what? You reap what you sow. You don't have a very serious relationship, do you? Right? And so it all comes back to intentionality. You know, I talked earlier about, like, if you have a bad day, one of the metrics that I track, right, is power, passion, purpose, productivity. And again, these belong to Sean Whalen. It's his concept. The 4 P's, right? Power, passion, purpose, and productivity. Well, passion is how are you showing up in the relationships in your life? Your wife, your children, your friends, your family, your tribe, your mag, whatever it may be. And It's not the idea that I'm going to check a box every day. Oh, I did something passionate today. It's more so a reminder for me to like, hey, be present at family dinner. Go check up on my wife and see how she's doing. What does she need? What's going on with her? Talk to my kids. Like, my son's answer to everything is good. It is.
Yeah.
Like, hey son, how was your day? Good. Cool. Yeah, did you have math today? Yeah. How was it? It was good. What did you do today? Played basketball. Cool. How was that? Good. Okay. What made it good? I did good at basketball. He's 13-year-old boy. Brain fog is real, right? Like it's real. He doesn't even know what's going on half the time. And boy, is that frustrating AF for me sometimes. I just want to pick him up and shake him and be like, use words, you know? But you have to be present, you know? My youngest, the Weasel, she's a physical touch. That's one of her languages. And she's a lot like me. She's also, she likes giving gifts and receiving gifts. And so, like, she will make you a drawing, and it's the best thing ever, and she made it for you, and this is, she made it for you. She's all into that. It's like, and she wants to snuggle, she wants to hug, and, my oldest daughter, she's a physical touch person too. She wants hugs, and like, cool. And so that's part of that, like, understand who you're dealing with, and you better understand who they are. They're your people. The Father gave them to you. It's your job to understand them. Like, you got to know that shit. How do they communicate? And also, using the teenage daughter as an example, sometimes even knowing how they communicate, you're also still dad. You're also still the head. Like, if your teenage daughter is pissy about something, sometimes that doesn't matter. I don't care if you're in a bad mood. You still got to do dishes. You can be pissed and do dishes at the same time. I know. I've seen you do it. Today's another one of those times you're going to do it. Doesn't mean I love you any less. You have things you have to do. And I'm willing to suffer the minuscule consequences of dealing with your poor attitude while you do dishes to teach you the fact that it doesn't matter where your headspace is right now. You have duties, responsibilities, and obligations that you will fulfill. Get out of your own head and perform, right? But you got to know your people, man, including your wife. And for us, sometimes it's just holding hands and looking at the sheep. And I know that seems stupid, but like, it's kind of like for us, like, if you use the rule and subdue analogy, it's like sitting on your throne with your queen and observing your kingdom, right? It's what it is. You just, hang out, hold hands, talk. Go on dates. That's the other thing too, is like, be intentional. Like, what you feed will grow. What you reap, what you sow, you reap, right? So if you're not feeding that relationship, it's not going to grow, man. E.C. Schmidt, work closed. Thank you, Rodney. Do push-ups, chef. Building manifestation is a behavior you want to see in others. That is leadership, headship, and stewardship. Exactly, Bear Arrow. And that's our job. That's the other thing you got to understand too, is the leader's job is not to be liked. I think a lot of people miss that. My job is not to be liked. In fact, we've had conversations where I'm like, hey, I know you disagree. I know you don't like this thing, but I'm making a call, and this is what we're going to do, or this is what we're going to not do. And there's been some back and forth on things like that. And I'm like, copy that. I love you. I respect you. Thank you for your wise counsel. Thank you for your input. We're still not doing that. It's not my job to be liked. It's my job to lead. That's literally why Yah entrusted me with one of his daughters and with his children.
And when I don't agree, I'm not spiteful, I'm not ugly, like, I turn that shit over to y'all. And I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna do anything against this, but I'm also not gonna do anything for this. And I just remove myself from it. And it's hard to do, because you feel a certain way, and it's the same on their side. Like, when you feel convicted about something, you're going with that conviction. So yeah, but it's what we do. Like, that's how we handle that.
Well, a big part of that too is, and
That's my job, is to let you lead and just like say, okay,
well, that's the next point I was going to make. A lot of women contact us and they're like, my husband just won't lead. It's like, have you gotten out of the way to let him lead?
Yeah.
And while he's leading, are you chastising every move that he makes? Are you up in his shit all the time? Second guessing everything that he does, questioning everything that he does? Like, you are his wise counsel. You are allowed to have input, but if he makes a call, whether you like it or not, support him in that call. He made a call. You asked him to lead. If he's leading, let him lead. And that's a huge challenge. And a lot of that has to do with, frankly, a lot of men today are pussies, and they forfeited the leadership role in their household to their wives, and then all of a sudden they try and take it back, and there's a huge imbalance there. The wife is like, why are you trying to take back this thing that I gave you? And it's like, I should have never given it to you in the first place. That was my job. I abdicated my responsibility. Now I've got to take it back. And there can be a lot of pushback from the wife in that regard, because the wife is like, well, I was doing this job. You gave it to me to do. Well, yes, but I should have never done that in the first place. And there are portions of our life, portions of our existence where my wife, like, that's totally her purview. Like, every day I'm like, hey, what are we doing for dinner? Because very rarely does it fall on me to figure out what we're going to eat today. That being said, tonight I cooked spaghetti and meat sauce because there was a toddler passed out on my wife in the bed upstairs. Okay, no big deal, right? But like, generally speaking, like, provisioning the house and cooking meals is something that falls to my wife. Not because she's like barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen, just like that's the division of labor there. I don't worry about that. I'm like, hey, you got grocery money? And she's like, yeah, I got grocery money. I'm like, you're badass. And she's like, no, you're a badass. I'm like, cool, handled. I don't have to worry about that. The sheep, another great example. My wife is the shepherdess in this relationship. My wife does 90% of what happens with the sheep. I'm like, hey, are we good? She's like, yeah, we're good. Hey, are we good? We're not good. This one has to go to the vet. Okay.
I need your help with this.
Right. We'll figure that out.
Yeah.
But I can give a purview of the overall responsibility to my wife and empower you in that and trust you in that because you're my wise counsel. But if you make a mistake and you mess something up, whose responsibility is that ultimately? Yours or mine?
Yours.
It's mine. Because I'm the one that gave you that purview and poured into you in that. It's mine. And people miss that in leadership too. You want all the glory, but none of the responsibility. Like, it doesn't work that way. By the way, the glory's about this big and the responsibility's this big. If you're in it for glory, you're in it for the wrong reasons. It is nice occasionally for someone to be like, good job, boss. And every now and then I'll tell my people, I'm like, I need a pat on the back today. I'm having one of those days, if somebody doesn't pat me on the back, I'm going to go to federal prison.
Yeah.
Like, occasionally I'll get that way. I'm like, I need a pat on the back today. And they do. But generally speaking, that's not what it's about. You're not in it for the glory, man. You're in it to do your job. Headship, leadership, stewardship. So, good words. Thank you, Phantom Colts. Pat the Bear. Thank you, Dragon Shield. Hey, I'm going to go pee off my porch. You want to talk to these people right quick?
Yeah.
Talk to them.
Okay.
Tell them how it be.
Wolfsbane Hollow. What happens when he leads and you reluctantly follow, then all goes foobar. Held my tongue when it happened way too many times. So, you can still tell them your concerns. Like, if I have a check in my spirit over something, I always voice it to T. And sometimes things blow up, and when it does, I just, like, I don't rub it in his face. I'm not like, haha, I told you so, or you should have listened to me. I let it be. And sometimes it works out for them, and sometimes it doesn't. But they are the leaders of the house. So they are the ones that guide us. And just like us, they mess up sometimes. They're not gonna always be perfect. Have I ever had a calf fall in a water trough? I mean, yeah, they get knocked in there every once in a while, but we use big buckets, and I've got a smaller water trough, but nothing big enough that they can't get out of. But yeah, they get knocked into them, but usually it's just like a foot or a couple of legs, and then they hop out.
Do they get knocked down and then they get up again? You ain't never gonna keep me down? Is that what happens?
Yes, that's what happens.
Okay, just checking. Are they dancing
Absolutely.
the night away?
Yeah, there is a way to express your concerns with respect, and that's what you do. And sometimes they see it your way, and sometimes they don't.
Respect is the biggest thing there. That's your better half. That's your helpmeet. That's literally the other part of you, okay? No one looks at his arm and is like, damn this arm, this piece of shit arm, I wish this arm would just, like, I hate this arm, what a pain in my ass. Like, that's part of your body. So's your wife. She's your rib. And you think there's not wisdom in that? Like, you ever had a broken rib? Everything hurts. Everything sucks when one of your ribs is broken. No matter how you move, it's painful. Even when you breathe, it's painful. And if you take a rib out, now your most inward parts are exposed to danger, right? You're missing part of your structure. Of course, the Creator knew what He was doing when He chose a rib to make a wife out of, right? Like, it's a beautiful parallel here. It's part of you. You don't despise you. You don't hate part of you. You don't disrespect part of you. Like, you can disagree with. You can be like, man, my knees hurt today. I disagree with my knees, or I wish my vertebrae would cooperate. I disagree with my vertebrae right now, but I don't disrespect them, right? And so you have to be able to approach each other with respect. And another thing, at least that works for us, I don't know if it works for everybody, it works for us, is sometimes I don't have the most polite words right now. And so I'm not going to use my right now words. Sometimes I have to create a little bit of space so that I can use polite words, so that I can be respectful, so that I'm not flying off the handle right now. And that's okay too, because it's not disrespectful to disengage for a moment so that I can find the right words and get my headspace and my heart set in the right place so that I can come back and then be respectful again. I hope that makes sense. Talk about everything tonight. Let's talk about AKs and headship. It's kind of what the channel's about, though. You know, kind of sums it up. Dude, this is so based. Thanks, Bug Out Bob. Awesome talk. Shalom, Brother Rex. ATS workup. Yeah, the man of Elohim. It's coming, brother. Timothy Young loves it. Always informative. AK versus SKS. Oh, we talked about that earlier. If you have an SKS, you don't need to go trade it in. But the AK, the Russians very quickly realized that the AK did everything the SKS did and more. So they quit building SKSs and just switched to the AK. How much did a family of 5 save to move from California to Oklahoma? Donnie O'Keefe, man, shalom, brother. That's a totally loaded question. Like, Where are you moving? How much debt do you have? Do you have a job when you get here? Are you self-employed? How old are the kids? What kind of expectations do you have for living arrangements? How much land do you need to buy? Are you agriculturally inclined? As much as you can, without letting it be a barrier to you jumping, is what I would say. Did you see Grand Thumb's mud test? AK didn't do too well. I didn't. I've seen the Soviets' mud test since 1947. It's done pretty good in that, though. We're talking 75 years. 75 years. By the way, modern technology, modern weapons technology. 75 years. This thing's done pretty good. But, it's the same thing with bolt-action rifles. Yeah, they're basically Mauser-style actions 100 years old or more, 120, 140 years old. Ecclesiastes, there's nothing new under the sun. Let us hear the conclusion of the matter. There is, serve Yah and keep his commands, for all things will be brought into right ruling. Yeah, do your own mud testing, exactly. Stamped versus cast. I think you mean stamped versus milled. Cast would just explode after the first round. It depends. The original stamped AKs were incredibly unreliable because the stampings weren't very good, which is where you get the milled AKs from, the next variant from, because they needed the rigidity and the precision of the milling in order to make the gun work until they figured out the stampings. And then now they've gone to, now the stampings work. And so the stampings are good now, so a stamped AK works just fine. A milled AK is more like a little bit more higher end, slightly more accurate, but it's still, you're talking still a 2 MOA gun instead of a 2.5 to 3 MOA gun. Although some AKs are easily 4 MOA guns. So it all depends. But you don't need to have a milled AK in order to have one that worked. The Soviets did for a while because the stamped AKs, when they were first introduced, just weren't working. They knew they were onto something, but the stampings weren't working. And so they had to have a milled receiver in order to do that. They figured, while they produced the milled receiver, they figured out the stampings. Then they got good stamped AKs going, and then they would just rivet in the trunnion on either end, the front and rear trunnions, and boom, you got an AK. So it really doesn't matter. Stamped AKs are going to be much more affordable than milled AKs, but they both rock. What do you got?
George Queenie had a good question. USMC 03, 16 years. I work oil 14 hours away. Wife leaves house when I'm gone. She is in go mode when I get home. 30 days later, I'm not weak and she is not weak. How to handle? I'm assuming meaning because he's gone.
He's spent when he gets home and she's in go mode.
She's in go mode and she's used to leading while he's gone. So that's hard because we've done that.
Yep.
And it is a very hard situation. Because number one, she needs to realize that you being gone for the past however many days, weeks, I know it's weeks at a time, that you're spent. Your 30 days home is rest. That's your period to rest and recuperate. However, for her, she's had to do everything by herself for the time that you've been gone. So having you home, she's looking forward to a helping hand.
So my mind goes here. The first thing is, it's awesome that she's executing on the household needs while you're gone. That's a good example of you giving your wife some purview under your authority, right? It's still headship. But in the guise of that headship, when you return, you're the king back on his throne, for lack of a better term, right? So the king is home. It doesn't mean you get to belittle the queen, right? But the king is home. Cool. You probably need a debrief the moment you get home or the next day of here's everything that has happened in the last 2 days. Commo comes back to commo. Most of life's problems are bad commo, right? So it comes back to commo. The two of you all need to get on the same page. And then you need to manage expectations. If you're working for 2 weeks and then you're off for 30 days, to my mind, when you get home after being on 14 days straight.
I think it's 30 days and then he's off for 10.
30 days off for 10. Okay, 30 days off for 10. So when you get home, to my mind, you probably need a couple of days to decompress and rest. And you probably need a couple of days to spin back up to get ready to go back on the road again. I know for me, I like 24 hours before I go, I want that 24 hours for make ready. So let's just say a day when you're about on outgoing and 2 days incoming, that leaves 7 days. Somewhere in there's a Shabbat, that leaves 6 days, right? So 6 days ye shall labor, homie. Now it comes down to prioritize and execute because you're not going to get everything done in 6 days. So while you're gone for those 30 days, what do you really need to accomplish while you're home? And how do you prioritize that? Because what you might really need to accomplish is rest and reconnecting with your family.
Right, taking your wife out on a date.
That might be your priority. Her priority might be, hey, we need to stretch some fence. Okay, guess what you're gonna do? You're gonna stretch some fence with her during the day, so at 5 o'clock you can say, hey, sweetheart, you look stunning with all that cow shit on you. How about you go take a shower and go put on that nice little dress that I like and do that thing with your hair that I like because we're gonna go eat a steak, right? So it's commo, man. It's commo and managing those expectations. She can't expect the world of you while you're recovering, but you also can't expect to have zero involvement while you're home. Yes, you need to recover from the fact that you were out working for the man. Your responsibility is not to the man. It's to your wife and to your children. And so, yeah, you're working with your man so that you can pay the bills to take care of your wife and your children. I get that. I've done it. I've worked on the road for a long time. I totally get it. But you have to pour back into your wife, especially if she's go, acts of service type person and you don't help her with that, she's going to see that as a rejection.
Yeah.
That you've been gone for a month and you're not even going to help me now that you're home? And you're like, why is this woman out of line? I don't get it. Because you're not pouring into her. She doesn't give a shit about the fence. She wants to spend time with you, and the way that she's spending time with you is doing this fence. Okay? Or whatever that may be. But so much of this is really managing expectations. It comes back to good commo. Sweetheart, out of the 10 days that I'll be back, I've only really got about 6 days that I'm good. And there's a couple things that I need to do that's going to take a day and a half. That brings us down to 4.5. Let's call it 4 days. What do you want to do? Well, I want to do this, and this. Okay, well, that's going to take 3 days.
And it might just be she wants to go to the freaking grocery store without kids.
That's true, too.
I mean...
She probably wants a day off.
She might want a day off, too. So, there's lots of dynamics to this kind of relationship. But you really have to pinpoint who your partner is, and vice versa. You guys have to come to an understanding of what it is that you need from each other. Because you only have 10 days to get it.
Yeah, what do you need and what can I realistically accomplish for you?
Yeah.
I mean, that's fair.
Expectations and communications.
Yep. I told my wife the other day, I was like, man, if I wasn't exhausted, we'd dress up right now and go get a milkshake and I'd pinch your butt. Did I not say that to you?
You did say that.
And I meant it. I was like, you're awesome. I would love to go on a date with you right now. I don't have it in me. And that it comes back to commo, right?
Yes.
It comes back to commo. When I grow up, I want to be you guys. Yeah, well, we don't have it all figured out,
No, and it was a long, hard road to get here. There was a lot of really stupid mistakes, and
That's true.
so, you know, but there was also a lot of wisdom discerned from experiencing those things, and for that, I am very, very, very grateful. But yeah, it's a lot of F-ups.
Well, and occasionally, I mean, go ahead. I've had moments where I'm like, hey, I'm going to go live underneath a tarp in the woods for a week because I just need to. I've had other moments where I'm like, I'm going to go spend some time at Shofar Mountain and have some wisdom dropped on me, right? Because, like, I don't have it all figured out. I don't. And we've been blessed that we've had good people, knowledgeable people come alongside us and pour into us. And that's in large part what we're trying to do right now, is to pour into you based upon the experiences that we've had. But we've made lots of mistakes. I've said it before and I mean it. Most of what I know how to do is by knowing what not to do. Right? Like, I know what works because I've tried 100 things and 98 of them didn't work, and now I know the 2 things that do work, right? And that's a very basic principle. You have to be willing to be the fool to become the master. You have to try. Whoa. Creepy flashlight. You have to do the things. You gotta try. And if it works out, it works out. And if it doesn't, you'll learn. We talk about this with our businesses all the time. Like, it's okay if we make mistakes, but we need to always be learning. Always be learning. Always be collecting that data. Apply awareness 24/7, 365. Always be collecting that data, because time spent is never a waste if you're getting that data back. If you're learning while you're doing things. And then you go, you know what? And here's the other thing. You suppress your ego. You have to be willing to say, well, that was stupid. That didn't work. My bad. Not doing that anymore. Not all get all bowed up and defensive. Well, it was a good idea, but no, it was a good idea. It would have worked, homie. It didn't work. And you may not be the only arbiter of what works and what doesn't work. Especially if you're in a committed relationship. You're not. You're not the only person that gets to decide what's good and what's bad. What worked and what didn't work. So, praise the Father, Bruce Cole. You know, some days it's better than others, but I ask the Father before every live stream to give me your words, because I don't have it all figured out. And so let me say what I need to say. And he's got a pretty good track record. And that's awesome. And I am by no means saying I'm a prophet, because I'm not. And there's very strict rules around what a prophet looks like, and I'm not one of them. But it's nice when the Spirit gives you urgings and you go with it. It's a good thing. Yep.
Yes, Timothy, Oklahoma is going up.
What's up, Mike Fallbush? I'm going to drive home, but I'll continue listening. Bless you guys. Thank you, Tomahawk. Bear, Old or New Testament? Both. All of it. The greatest love story ever written, from Genesis 1:1 to Revelation 22. 5 Love Languages is a very good book for solving problems that come with marriage. I agree. What's up, JB? Highland Rogue. Freedom Convoy. Man, weird. 3 hours in, there's still 600 people here. You like my green screen? Thank you. The production crew asked if I'd get on the sound stage this evening. Shalom, Mark Chase. What's up, AP? Californians caught wind of how great Oklahomans are, and they're zeroing in. Actually, it's not that. Really what it is it's the legalized weed farming in Oklahoma that's driving up land prices because people are buying up agricultural land and growing weed on it, and they're paying exorbitant amounts of money in cash, which is driving all the comps up, and that's a problem. Land here that was $1,000 an acre a few years ago is now $5,000 an acre to $10,000 an acre. That's a problem. But on the one hand, it sucks for us because we want to buy more land and we want to do more things, as if the Father doesn't know that. Right? Like, he's not surprised by any of this shit. He's not up there like, oh, damn, I didn't know they were going to go read in Oklahoma. I guess we got to figure that one out. Like, he knows what's up. On the other hand, I've been saying for as long as I've been on camera, y'all need to leave. So I don't feel bad if you haven't left yet and you're like, oh my God, did you see the price of land? Bro, it wasn't that 5 years ago when I told you to leave. So it wasn't that 4 or 5 years ago when we left. It's not going to get better. Like, it's not going to get better. If you're on the fence about coming out of Her My People, about strategic relocation, it's not going to get better. Like, the economy is going down. Land prices are going to go up. There's going to continue to be real estate speculation. It's not going to get better. So, bite the bullet or quit your bitching. One or the other. Idaho land has gone insane, right? Yeah, there'll be a bear brief tomorrow. Why wouldn't there be? I mean, what time is it? Is it 1 a.m.? Should I just do it now? Is it officially tomorrow?
No. It's 10:20.
It's 10. Yeah,
No.
there'll be a bear brief tomorrow.
Might be a little late.
It might be. It might not be, you know? Just got my copy of the scriptures. Praise Yah, man. That's awesome. Texas is going berserk. Man, I'm glad I don't live in North Texas anymore. I was
Why we left.
Yeah. It was going berserk.
We saw it coming.
8 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Correction, it is 8. Whatever, Sarah. What would $250K buy in Oklahoma mountain areas? Land.
Yeah, like,
Depends.
you might get a house with maybe a couple acres right now.
You could get everything from a house on a few acres to 80 acres of undeveloped land.
Right, yeah.
Depending on where you are and what you're looking for. Bear, whiskey or bourbon? Don't make me choose both.
But land's getting up to like
It's getting steep.
Like anywhere from like 6 to 10 grand an acre.
It's getting steep.
Yeah.
It's getting stupid. That's because land never goes to zero.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, good old Gordy, it's gonna get worse. It's gonna get worse. I promise you. It's good. Guys, we still have 36 more months of Biden. What do you mean it's not gonna get worse? Come on. Whiskey or bourbon? Yes. Good answer. Arkansas is fed up with newbies. I'm bringing more, but I missed it. It's going by too fast. So we own land somewhere else. We paid an excellent price for it. But it's mountainous land and it's completely undeveloped. The road to get to it, you can't even really tell it's a road, and that's cool. So that's another thing. We don't talk about this often, but this isn't the only piece of land that we own. When I tell you guys, spider points, caches, all that, Denise, thank you. I mean it. Like, I don't tell you guys to do anything we don't do.
Welcome, Denise. Do not move to Hawaii. No, I would not live in Hawaii.
I don't know. I think pineapples are cool.
I would go visit Hawaii. I would vacation to Hawaii.
And I like how everybody calls everybody cuz. I think that's cool.
Have that as my primary place of residence.
Das Vidanya.
Should I go in debt for a new truck or keep my old one?
That is
your
the
old one run?
dumbest effing question I've heard today.
Yeah, like
No. Should
no.
I go in debt for no?
If your old one is running, keep running it and save. Like, what you do, you save the money that you would be paying for a car payment. Because that's like
Nastrovia.
$200 to $600. Like, it just depends on what the hell you're buying as far as how much of a car may have been. But save your money. Save your money and drive your old ass car until it stops running. And then use that money that you've saved towards a car to buy a car.
Guys, this is basic stuff. This is basic Dave Ramsey stuff. The total value of all your vehicles should not exceed 6 months of your income. So if you make $50,000 a year, the total value of all your vehicles together, total value that you own, not that you have on loan, that you own, should be no more than $25,000. Okay? And you should own them outright. And another Dave Ramsey rule, you don't get to buy a new car until you have $1 million in the bank. The end.
I've never bought a new car.
The end. I bought a new truck once in my life. It was a Ford F-150 SXT or STX or whatever it was. And I paid $34,000 for it at the time. And it scared the shit out of me because it was brand new. And I gave it to my dad, and he turned it into a Cadillac because he didn't want a pickup truck, he wanted a Cadillac. And I was like, whatever, man. And you know what I did? I got a 1-ton work truck. You know why? Because you can actually do stuff with a 1-ton work truck. That's the only new vehicle I've ever owned, and I drove it for maybe a week, and I was like, I'm afraid of this brand new vehicle. Like, I want something that I can work with, something I can do stuff with. And nah, man, no. Should I go in debt for? No. No. The answer is no. Well, but my daughter needs a kidney, and if I don't take out this loan, then they're not gonna. The Father will provide. Ask your brothers and sisters to share your burdens. No. No. Should I go whore with Babylon to try and be righteous? No. Should I go outside of my marriage to look for fulfillment so that my wife will like me more? No. Like, you guys misunderstand what debt is. Negative. No. See, and here's the thing.
Timothy don't have a mortgage. Like,
here's the thing. I was talking about this the other day on...
if you have money to buy gold, you have money to pay off your mortgage.
That is no shit. Good point. You don't have money to buy anything. You don't have money to buy anything until your debt is gone. Otherwise, you're a slave. And see, here's the thing. I was talking about this the other day on Coffee Time with Bear on Patreon. You keep trying to do good things in a system that's a broken system, then wonder why it's not working. You're married to a whore that is Babylon and wondering why she doesn't treat you right. Because she's a whore, man. Babylon the whore. Babylon has fallen. That great city was destroyed in 1 hour. She's a whore, man. It doesn't matter what good works you do in this relationship. It's not gonna work because she is unrighteous. Stop. It's like, you know, I keep punching myself in the dick and I don't know why it doesn't feel good. Oh, I do. Because that's never going to reap good fruit. Like, it doesn't, like, does not compute. It's really frustrating to me on this side of the camera because it's really basic stuff. And it's the same basic stuff that we've been talking about for half a decade. And I realize we've got new people here. We've got people who maybe never seen a live stream before. I totally understand, like, maybe you've not been exposed to this portion of Bear Independent before, but it's basic stuff. Dave Ramsey's been teaching this stuff for 35 years. Should I go in debt for it? No. Well, what about no? You don't have money to buy gold if you have a mortgage. You don't have money to buy anything if you have a mortgage. You have money to buy rice and beans until that mortgage is paid off. Otherwise, why are you even prepping? Why are you even at this channel? GTFO, man. You're going to be part of the problem, not part of the solution. Get out of here. It's frustrating, man.
I know.
Like, it's... The most expensive truck I have driven since I worked power construction 15 years ago, not including that F-150 that I bought for myself, which I gave away to my dad, is the truck that I have now that I spent $17,000 for used. Cash. That is the most expensive vehicle that I have driven in the last 15 years. 17 grand. And the truck I was driving before that cost me $4,500. You know what I did with that one? I gave it to a brother. Because it was a blessing to me when it came to me at $4,500. Which, by the way, the guy that blessed me with it, he said, hey, I have a truck. I know you need a truck. It's $4,500. I said, hey, is it that blah, blah, blah? He goes, yeah, it's that blah, blah, blah. I was like, yeah, I'm interested. He said, and I want to give you the opportunity to work it off. I said, cool, what do you need? He goes, I need a track hoe operator for the next 4 days. I said, okay, and then what? He goes, you come down here and bust your ass for 4 days, you put in a 40-hour week on that machine in 4 days, that truck's yours. Sold. I didn't even have to come out of pocket for it. Gave 4 days of my life away for that truck. Happy to do it. Why? Why are you whoring with the system? I don't care what your truck looks like. I don't care how much your shoes cost. I don't care how much money is in your bank account. It doesn't matter, man. It doesn't matter. You can't take it with you. That's the other thing. When you shuffle off this mortal coil and you stand in judgment, the Father is not going to ask you what kind of weapons light you had on your AK. He's not going to want to know what kind of rims you had on your Mercedes. He doesn't give a shit. He doesn't care. It's just you and him. That's it. It's just you and him. None of it goes with you. None of this materialistic stuff goes with you. Not one bit of it. A Burger King employee could pay my small little mortgage. Awesome. Then pay it down and make it disappear.
Right. Pay off that debt. Like, you never know.
Get rid of it.
When times are going to change.
Yep. So, alright, I'm gonna quit yelling. What else we got?
What if I made a mistake when I was younger? I don't know. We've all made mistakes.
Teshuva, repent.
Yeah.
No, if you've truly repented, if you've truly repented, there's only two entities in the world that care about your past. You and Satan. That's it. The Father doesn't even see that anymore. If you've repented and you're under the covering of the blood of Messiah, when you come into the Father's presence, He doesn't even see that anymore. That's not, you are not the you that you were. You are a new creation. You are a new being. The only thing that keeps bringing up your past to you is the enemy. Because he's going to use that to work against you. You're not really made new. You're not really saved. You're not really a new creation. You're not really covered by that blood. You really think the creator of the world would kill his own son for you? When you did this and you did that, you're nothing. You're nothing. That's Satan, bro. Be gone. I rebuke you in the name of Yeshua Messiah. Get out of here. Nobody cares about that shit but the enemy And you, if you let him. The Father doesn't, if you've truly repented. And if you haven't truly repented, then get on your knees, put your face on the ground, and you pray until tears fall out of your face. And you give that back over to the Father. I'm not the same guy I was 5 years ago either, Mike Fallbush. Nor should we be. I hear all the time, Bear, you've changed. Good. That's the point. We're not supposed to plateau. We're not supposed to stay stagnant. A static shooter is a dead shooter, right? Let's bring it back around tactical. We're not supposed to stand still. We're supposed to move. Bear, what do you think county wants taxes paid on property you own and all has collapsed? No bank, how are we going to pay taxes, especially when you don't play their game? Silver is a thing. It is in many cases legal currency and or it is at least exchangeable. You can pay your taxes in advance. You can keep fiat currency on hand to pay taxes year by year. And in many cases, if you look at the Great Depression, property taxes were deferred. So you might have a decade of deferment until, much like student debt, until it can be paid at a later date. So there you go. And I wouldn't recommend getting into a shooting match with your sheriff because sheriffs are, generally speaking, closer to the people. They're elected officials and more or less good folk, at least around here, good folk. And the sheriff is going to be the one working on behalf of the county to collect back taxes. And they're also going to be the one, if you have a good rapport with them, that's going to understand if you can say, look, I don't have it to pay. I don't know if you noticed, but the world has ended. I'm kind of out of stuff. Kind of out of money. Like, what can we do here? To the extent that the county's still operating, it requires tax revenue in the first place. If things have gotten to the point where you can't pay it, that's kind of a whole nother story in of itself. How many of the 613 commandments of the Torah do I need to follow? All the ones that you can. If you're a woman, you don't need to worry about the one for men. If you're a man, you don't need to worry about the one for women. If you're not a high priest, you don't need to worry about those. Anywhere it says bring a burnt offering, you probably don't need to do that anymore either. Keep the feasts, keep the diet, wear the zitziot, observe the mitzvah and the mishpatim, do the good works, the right rulings, the mitzvot, the laws, the judgments. Love your neighbor as yourself, love Yah with everything you got. How do you do that? That's what the Torah fleshes out. You do the ones that you can. Some of them we just can't do right now. I mean, Yeshua himself says at the Last Supper, hey, we're not going to do this again until I return. Guess what? That means we're going to be doing the Passover when he returns. Cool story, man. I think civil war is going to happen. I think it's entirely possible, Ohana. I don't know that it will, but I think it's entirely possible. And I think that narrative actually suits the powers that be. It's a good talking point for the powers that be. It always crops up when there's a need for a distraction. And a true civil war, well, like we had the North versus the South, the War of Northern Aggression, 1860 through 1865. That had a lot to do with the secession of certain states. I think we're much more regional now. You know, I live in Oklahoma where not one county has voted Democrat. Not one county has voted Democrat in the last 7 presidential elections. That being said, Tulsa is still a very blue area. You go to Texas. Well, Texas is a conservative state. Dallas isn't. Houston isn't. Austin isn't. So now what happens, right? I think we're looking at like a regional, sub-regional conflict rather than a big overarching macro conflict there. I think it's probably more like dozens of smaller civil wars. It's much more factionary than it is lines on a map, in my mind.
What are the things you call dangly things or tassels?
Zitziot, zitzit. Numbers 15:37. We wear them so that we remember and do all the commandments of Yah. Additionally, when Jesus is walking through the crowd and the woman with the blood issue reaches out and touches the hem of his garment, the King James renders that word hem in that translation, but it's actually the Hebrew word zitzit, which means that he was wearing the tassels. And when she touches him, A, she's instantly healed. B, he says, "Who touched me? I felt power go out from me." And his apostles, paraphrasing New Living Bear translation, say, "What do you mean, who touched you? You're in a crowd of people. How are we supposed to know who touched you?" And he said, "No, somebody touched me. I felt power go out from me." And instantly that woman was healed. Now check this out. The zitziot, the tassels, embody the remembrance to do all the commands of the Torah. And Yeshua was wearing them, and that righteousness, blamelessly walking in the commands, is what fixed that woman's blood issue. Like that fast. That fast, man. And so what would Jesus do? He'd wear tassels. He'd wear the zitziot. Remember strings. That's a great way of looking at it. Read the Gospel of John, by the way. I have most of the Gospel of John underlined. If you wish to enter into life, guard the commands. If you love me, keep my commands as I have kept my Father's commands and stay in his life. There you go. Revelation, New Testament. My backpack with my Bible in it is in the house, but I do have a Bible on my phone. Revelation 22, last chapter in the Bible. Verse 14, Revelation 22:14. Well, we'll start at 12. "And see, I am coming speedily," Yeshua speaking. "And see, I am coming speedily, and my reward is with me to give to each according to his work. I am the Aleph and the Tav, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. Blessed are those doing his commands, so that the authority shall be theirs unto the tree of life, and to enter through the gates into the city, the promised land. But outside are the dogs, and those who enchant with drugs, and those who whore, Babylon, and the murderers, and the idolaters, and all who love and do falsehood," false teaching, false worship. "I, Yeshua, have sent my messenger to witness to you these matters in the assemblies. I am the root and the offspring of David." The offspring of who? King David, the Jew, the king of Judah? "The bright and morning star. And the Spirit and the bride say, Come, and he who hears, let him say, Come, and he who thirsts, come, and he who desires it, take the water of life without paying. For I witness to everyone hearing the words of the prophecy of this book, if anyone adds to them, Elohim shall add to him the plagues that are written in this book. And if anyone takes away from the words of this book of prophecy, Elohim shall take away his part from the book of life, and out of the set-apart city, which is Jerusalem, by the way, which are written in the book. He that bears witness of these matters says, Yes, I am coming speedily. Amen. Yes, come, Master Yeshua. The favor of our Master Yeshua Messiah be with the set-apart ones, the saints. Amen." That is the last chapter in the New Testament. Blessed are those doing his commands, so that the authority shall be theirs unto the tree of life. So, kind of a big deal. The whole commands thing is kind of a big deal. If you wish to enter into life, guard the commands. Gospel of John. Oh, we're back to talking about AKs again?
No, somebody had a good question.
Somebody had a good question?
Well,
I like good ones.
Bear, my younger brother lost his child at a young age. What would be advice or words of God that maybe could help and be encourageable to carry on?
Lost a child at a young age? Well, the first thing that comes to mind again is like what we talked about earlier, is nothing surprises the Father. So the Father knew that it was going to happen. So we have to understand that even if it doesn't make sense to us, that was ordained. So the question is, what should we learn about the nature of God from this? And the pain of the loss of that child, to me, see, we had a couple of failed pregnancies ourselves. And it illustrated very much so how important children and procreation and being fruitful and multiplying was to us. Okay? That's trauma. Find an EMDR therapist ASAP, says the doc. And I would agree. But it illustrated in that moment how important it was to us that we have children. And we mourned the loss of those children. And one day, when we're in the kingdom, we'll see those children. And I'll get to hold those babies. And I'll be really happy about that. So I get it. Like, we get it. But what is that teaching you about your character and the character of the Father? What can you learn from that? And understand that that child was blameless, and you're blameless in that as well. You are blameless in that. And that child is blameless. That child will never see judgment. That child has returned back to the best Father on the face of the earth, outside the face of the earth, the Father, Yahweh or Elohim, the Lord our God. Like that child is back home where it's supposed to be. And you'll get to see him again sometime. And it's going to be okay. And meanwhile, it sucks. It's like mourning. We talked about mourning earlier. You can mourn, and you should mourn. But it can't destroy you. It can't consume you. And if it is on the verge of destroying you, on the verge of consuming you, yeah, you need to talk to a professional, and that's okay. That's totally okay. Sometimes you just need somebody to bear your burdens with you. And it's okay to have burdens. It's okay to be a big tough dude that gets a little choked up thinking about their babies that aren't here right now. Right? Like, that's okay. But you're blameless, and that child is blameless. You'll see him again, and what can you learn from this experience about your character and the character of the Most High? Knowing that he loves you. David, we talked earlier, David lost a child, and David was distraught. Yeshua talks about the rain falls on the just and the unjust. Good things happen to bad people, and bad things happen to good people. It's the story of Job. The whole idea of the story of Job is this shit sucks. Praise Yah. I'm still alive. I'm still here. This shit sucks. Praise Yah. Right? How many people have heard that worship song? We will praise you in these storms. Well, that's the Psalms. That's David. David went through a ton of shit. Right? We will praise you in these storms. What is the Father showing you, lovingly trying to teach you and instruct you in this moment about your character and his character? Lillian Rose LeBlanc, amen. This sucks, praise Yah. And again, it's okay to mourn that loss. It's natural and healthy to mourn that loss. It cannot consume you. And if it is, you need to find somebody to talk to. No shame. Like, no shame. You just need to bear that burden to somebody. So.
years later that a family member aborted a child and never told us. I don't know how I could ever forgive them.
You just forgive them.
Right.
They didn't know any better.
They thought that that was the best decision at the time. And that is their burden to carry, not yours.
It's also not your job to judge them.
No. And
That's not going to make it any better.
yeah. Like, and the process of going through that decision is not an easy one for most people. Like, even after they have done it, there is a hell of a lot of torment that happens afterwards. So, I'm just saying, don't think that it was an easy decision for that person, even if you don't agree with the stance of abortion. I don't either. I think that it's wrong, but I don't do it. And if somebody else is doing it, I still think that it's wrong, but that is theirs to carry.
Well, and if they made a decision that at the time they thought was right, that now they don't,
Right.
and they've repented of that, if they've teshuvah'd, who are you to judge them? You're nobody. Now you're looking for the speck in somebody else's eye with the plank in your own. Now, before I met my wife, I was with a girl who I found out later was pregnant because I was completely unrighteous. It was a very unrighteous relationship. And she was pregnant, and she aborted that pregnancy. Again, talk about meeting your babies in the afterlife. I've got several I'm looking forward to meeting. And it tore me up. It tore me up. And I was pissed. Okay. It happened. Now what? I tell you what. You're never going to reach that person if you can't find a way to have a conversation with them. Especially if there's somebody close to you. You're never going to, and it's not your job to judge them. The flip side of that is judge and judge righteously according to the law. Okay, let's go that route. Let's take the Torah at face value there. Hey, you effed up. You took an innocent life. You need to repent of that. Have you repented of that? You did? Okay. Wow. I really don't know how to feel about this. You must be hurting because I'm hurting for you. Where are you at? How do I help you, even though I'm not very happy with you right now? How do I help you? Check your ego at the door. Life is a full contact sport, and your ego is going to do nothing but get you in trouble, man. I get accused all the time of being an egotistical asshole. That's because most people mistake ego for competency. Okay, fine. Check your ego at the door, man. You can't. The wrath of man works not the righteousness of Elohim. James chapter 1. You can't love that person. You can't help that person and be pissed at him at the same time. And that's sometimes the best way to love somebody is to get some freaking yonder, man. Put some distance in between you and them. Because you're not going to help the situation by being involved in it, and you're not in a position to help them by being close to them. So GTFO. remove yourself in the position. Sorry, I saw Renee's comment about how can you be under the 10 laws but not the rest? It sounds like somebody's arguing apologetics with somebody in the chat. Again, I say John 15:13.
Yeah, somebody commented that, like the exact same thing.
Yep. No one has greater love than this, that one should lay down his life for his friends. You are my friends if you do whatever I command you. Yeah, check this. John 15, verses 9 and 10. As the Father has loved me, I have also loved you. Stay in my love. If you guard my commands, you shall stay in my love. Listen, even as I have guarded my Father's commands and stay in his love. These words I've spoken to you so that my joy might be in you, that your joy might be complete. This is my command, that you love one another as I have loved you. No one has greater love than this, that one should lay down his life for his friends. You are my friends if you do whatever I command you. Yeah, the Father killed himself for you. That was the only way for you to get home again. I see this gets back to like self-worth and sense of purpose. People are running through life blind, like, I'm nothing, I'm a piece of shit, I'm useless, I'm blah, blah. It's like the Father killed himself for you. He sees something in you. He sees something in you. Maybe trust his wisdom and discernment. Because he saw fit for you to make a way home that involved destroying himself and suffering every impossible burden, carrying all of it, to remove that burden from you so that you could come home again. And so you actually deny the grace of Yeshua when you belittle yourself and see no worth in yourself. Amen, Mark. Good to see you. It's something to know that someone loves you and to actually feel it. Amen. Are you Trinitarian? Interesting question. Short answer, doesn't matter. Slightly longer answer, Shema Yisrael, Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Echad. Hear, O Israel, Yahweh is our God, Yahweh is one. Yeshua, I and my Father am one. There is one Elohim. That Elohim, that Creator, that God, has multiple facets. You experience Him in the spiritual form as the Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit. As the creator and architect of the world, that is Elohim, Father God. As the physical manifestation, that is Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus the Christ. But He's one. Yeshua Himself says, I and my Father are one. Roger that. The Shema, Yahweh is one. Echad is the word. Echad, one. One. Who are we arguing with, Stumps?
Rapture Betty. He's not being a jerk, though.
Okay.
I mean,
that's good.
Sense has got him.
Some rapture guy. Roger that, bug out, Bob. That would require some further reading. We're not going to start arguing the rapture, though. Our God is one. Just debate. Roger that. I'm a fornitarian, Charles. I like that. I like that, brother. So there one isn't a husband and wife or one. Amen. Amen.
How do I learn as much as you bear?
How do I learn as much as you bear? Well, that's a loaded question. I don't know.
Do a lot of things.
Why don't you answer this question?
Do a lot of things. Read your Bible a lot. A lot. I mean, I do not read my Bible nearly as much as this man across the room. Like, he is constantly reading his book. And read your Bible and do things. You have to do life to experience hard things, to learn hard shit. And be willing to learn. Be teachable. Absorb knowledge. Read as much as you can about whatever you can.
Be a student.
Yeah.
So, thank you, babe.
You're welcome.
My wife gets on me because she's like, you're always listening to something.
Yes.
Yep.
True statement.
Always learning. Always. Always receiving information. I do try and stay in my word. Some days are better than the others, but I do try and stay in my word. If I don't get 10 pages of reading in a day, something's wrong. Like, it's a bad day for me. And so, I stay in my Bible. I read books, all kinds of books. Not just echo chamber books, but I read all kinds of books. I'm reading a book on what is it called? The Coming Age of Neo-Feudalism. I don't even remember where I heard about that book. It might have been Mike Shelby at Forward Observer. But The Coming Age of Neo-Feudalism. I read the first page and I told my wife laying in bed, gosh dang, I hate the way this guy writes.
Yeah.
I was like, but you know what? I'm still going to read it. Still going to read it. So, I'm always receiving data. I'm always trying to learn, and I understand the framework within which I operate. I'm a son of Yah. And he created the heavens and the earth, and he loves me beyond measure. And he has equipped and empowered me to do certain things, including ruling and subduing. He's blessed me with people, a wife and children and grandma and a family, extended family, and a camp that is my extended family. And then I take all of that, and I am a physical, visceral, tactile learner. I'm kinesthetic. I have to do it with my hands. And then if I do it with my hands, I got it. I also, as Sister Renee likes to say, I have a freaky brain. How that works, I don't know, but it's a sponge. If, for an example, if I play a song 3 times in a row, I now own that song. It doesn't matter what that song is. It could be the most basic, simple worship song. It could be the most complex, technical death metal song you've ever heard. If I play it 3 times, I own it. It's mine now. It's just locked in. I don't know how that happens. I don't know why that is. It's just the way that it is. So, I don't really want to espouse on it any further than that because I feel like it would be a total lack of humility to try and tell you how to be as smart as I am. But that's what I do. Our brother Mad Kelt likes to say, read the book and do what it says. That's it, man. Learn by doing. That is the Hebrew way of learning. Read the book and do what it says. So,
Jacob, I think you would be hard pressed to find a regular Bible printed on regular, or find a Bible printed on regular paper, because that sucker would be huge.
Yeah.
Like,
you need a wheelbarrow to move it.
yeah, that would be a really, like, the Bible is a lot of pages.
About 1,100.
A lot of pages. And
1,076.
that's why they print it on super thin paper. So yeah, I don't know if you would be able to actually find a Bible printed on regular paper.
You know,
I've
this
never had one.
this flashlight's not cooperating anymore.
You're jiggling. There you go.
I'm jiggling. Thank you for streaming so much truth. Y'all are awesome. David, Joshua, praise the Father, man. Thank you for being here. We're pushing 4 hours of being here. We're probably about to be done, honestly, because my phone just popped up with a thing saying my battery's done. It's 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
Man, it is way past my bedtime. Is the ESV a good translation? I don't prefer it. If it works for you, great, but I don't prefer it. I like the Scriptures. That's my EDC Bible, the Scriptures. I have an ESV copy. I have a lot of different copies. I'll give it a few more minutes.
Yeah,
Jeep
this
and
is
Survival.
nice.
Jeep and, man, I haven't seen you in a while. Shalom, Jeep and Survival. What were you saying, babe?
The Sefer.
Yeah.
That is printed, I think, on regular paper. Or thicker paper, at least.
So the Sefer is a work of art. It is a gorgeous book. If you don't know Hebrew, or if you don't want to know Hebrew, you don't need the Sefer yet. You're gonna be so far in the weeds trying to figure out what the hell they're talking about. Do you wonder if man has changed the word? Absolutely. Man has changed the word. That being said, what was that Babylonian king's name? Was it Nebuchadnezzar? During the Babylonian exile, there was a king whose name escapes me. He took 70 priests and he put them in 70 rooms. And each priest did not know that the other 69 priests were there, right? They were isolated in their rooms in the palace. And he went to each one of them and he said, I want you to take your Torah, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. I want you to take your scrolls, your Torah, and I want you to translate it from Hebrew to Babylonian. And he did this to test Yah, to test God. He did this to test God. He wanted to see if the word was truly divinely inspired. And so 70 priests, all isolated with their own copies of the Torah, each rendered 70 translations, one each, total of 70 translations, that were then compared by the king's advisors against one another. And the only difference was the occasional difference in punctuation, a comma or a period, a semicolon or a colon. That's it. Word for word. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. 70 different priests independently rendered 70 different, precisely accurate translations. So the Father has his hand on this. There are better translations and worse translations, that being said. And I like the scriptures. It's my EDC Bible. That being said, every time we do a live stream like this, I'm pretty sure we lose more subs than we gain because we ban so many people. Yes, King James did add to the Bible. Yeah, Cody Cassidy, get yourself a copy of the Complete Apocrypha. It's called the Non-Canonical Texts, man. The Complete Apocrypha. I love how every live stream, bless you, Campfire Chef, do push-ups. I love how these live streams always end up talking about the Father. Always end up talking about Yah. Crack it a little bit?
Yeah, I don't need to talk. I just need to breathe.
Oh, breathing's overrated. They always end up talking about the Father. They always end up talking about the Torah. We always end up talking about Yeshua. We always end up talking about righteousness. It's awesome. And I'll end on this. I had a consultant a couple years ago I talked to about the growth of the channel. And he said, I really think you need to separate out the preparedness from the faith in your channel. If you want to talk about faith, start a different channel, talk about it there. And some people do that, and that's okay. I don't begrudge them that. But for me, it's not possible.
Your faith should be a substantial part of your life.
It's the most important thing.
Yes.
You can't get me and not get Yeshua, Yah, the way, the Ruach HaKodesh, and righteousness and blamelessly walking in the commands. You can't get me. If you want to know how much food to store, how much water to store, what kind of AK is this, you want all of that is always going to be informed by my walk toward the Creator by the grace of the Son. Like, those things are inseparable for me. I can't separate them. And some people can, and that's fine for them. I can't. Maybe it's a lack of discipline. Maybe it's I'm just not skilled enough to talk about one thing only. That's fine. Maybe, frankly, it's a lack of understanding and grace for the world that doesn't believe the way that I believe. And that's okay. But it's also, when I flip this phone on, I'm inviting you into my world. This is my world. This is what I do over here. You see my wife, you see my kids, you see my friends, you see my loved ones, you see my animals, you see my homestead, you see my weapons, you see my vices, you see my bad words and my good intentions, and you see my works, everything, the good, the bad, the ugly. You see all of it, and you get me. And me, hopefully, by the grace of Yah, will always be number one, first and foremost, a son of Yah. A son of the Most High. That's what I strive to be. Some days I'm better than others, but that's what I strive to be. I can't separate those things out. And so I guess it's only natural that these things always end up being about Yah. Always end up being about Yeshua. Always end up being about the Word, because on a long enough timeline, I'm going to quit caring about what kind of AK this is over here. And we're going to need to read the Word. Love you too, brother. Shalom. Hey, bless y'all. I'm going to go to bed. You don't talk, you also walk the walk, saw it in Kentucky. Bless you, Chris. I'm going to go to bed. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for being with us for another 4-hour live stream.
Right.
Thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you for supporting us on Patreon. Thank you for supporting the small businesses. Thank you for supporting Grindstone Ministries. Thank you for being a part of what we do. Couldn't do it without you. You guys are the best. Shalom.
Shalom.